Hi everyone, welcome to Frame Trap. Today, I say this every single episode, but today is probably going to be the most jam-packed Frame Trap we have for you. There's a lot to talk about. There's a new console on the way. There's a new Red Dead on the way. We've been playing a ton of games at the fall season. I don't know about you guys, Huber specifically, this has been the busiest time in Easy Allies history so far for me. It's just like game, and I can't complain. A lot of what I've been playing has been excellent, but yeah.
Yes.
Oh, a lot of.
Yep.
Oh.
A lot of. Some of which I can't talk about, some of which I can. We'll get into it. Huber, getting in the Halloween spirit. Jason Voorhees on his chest. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
It was either between that or Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Jason Voorhees today. Feeling
slasher today?
Yeah, feeling slasher.
That's a win-win situation.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Hannibal, I've been watching Westworld, and I've learned that Anthony Hopkins just could be saying pretty much anything. Pretty much anything. He could be taking my order at a drive-thru, and I would just be like
enthralled
by the balls. That
but
guy's
also
so good.
like kind of nervous.
Yeah, kind of nervous.
Like
kind
if
of
you took
unsettled.
my order at a drive-thru, I would be uncomfortable.
I'm like, you're gonna kill me, and you don't work here.
Yeah.
Before we get into the games, I got a quick question for you. My girlfriend said that she liked Anthony Hopkins as well, but that he always played the same character. Do you think that's true? Because I think he's shown quite a bit of range over the years. Like, I think he can play a really empathetic, good guy as well as a very creepy...
Definitely. One of my favorite Anthony Hopkins movies of all time is The Edge with Alec Baldwin. Has anyone seen this?
No, I
Is
haven't.
Alec Baldwin on edge the entire movie?
Yes. Dude, The Edge. I used to watch this movie with my brother growing up, like, all the time. They get stranded in the wilderness and have to face off against a bear. And Anthony Hopkins,
This was made for you.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins is like master survivalist, and Alec Baldwin is like rich, like never been in the wilderness before. Dude, it's a really good movie. But Anthony Hopkins is like pretty jolly in it. But
Okay.
It's like intense still.
Yeah. Always intense.
Always intense,
Always
yeah.
intense.
Even at his most positive, very intense positivity. But let's get started. Damiani, once again, like, I know what Huber's been playing. I know what Brad's been playing. I've been playing some of those things with him. I have no idea what is going on with Michael Damiani. So please tell me.
I've been playing a lot of World of Final Fantasy.
Ooh. I hear that has a certain goddess in it.
It does.
I would say the goddess.
It does have the goddess. It has multiple goddesses, but lightning is in fact in it. And in fact, since this goes up on Wednesdays, correct?
No.
Monday, tomorrow.
Monday. Okay, what time Monday? Very important.
It'll probably go, I don't know for sure.
Why don't
It'll
we just
probably go-
bump it till the embargo?
Nah, the embargo's tomorrow is Monday night. I believe at 9 o'clock.
Never mind.
Pacific. It's when it goes live digitally on for release, like midnight Eastern. Yeah, so
That'd be an amazing reason. To
yeah. So then
I think there might be a way around this, because a lot of people have done detailed previews on World of Final Fantasy. Can you?
There's a demo out, but the thing is, I didn't play the demo because I had the game. And I did watch a video of Kotaku's playthrough the demo because I was curious. It is a early area of the game, but they threw in a lot of stuff that's not there just to show off. Like, they threw a bunch of random Final Fantasy characters in that area just to talk to you, and I was like, that totally doesn't happen in the game. But hey, it's like, hey, here's Cloud. Hi, here's Lightning. Hi, here's Squall. Like, we're in the game. Like, we're gonna say hi to you. I guess we could talk in like general, like very general stuff about it. I
think we'll be fine.
I feel like it's a very much a Final Fantasy's version of a Pokemon game. That's the best way to describe it, because of catching all the different monsters. It's basically like you have instead of a Pokeball, you have like a monster cube essentially. A prismarium is what they call them. Like, Square Enix comes up with the dumbest terms.
Prismarium?
It's basically they're a Pokeball, and if you do certain conditions to a monster in battle, so it can be as simple as hitting them with an attack. Something as complicated as inflicting a status ailment on them. They then glow with a light, which means you can then try and catch them. And it does the whole animation where like it goes into the ball. Like when it catches them, it's like a digital like hologram ball thing, and it does like the Pokemon thing where it's like dee 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 but then like it might reject them or it might capture them. You're like, oh, will it capture them or not? And then I think that's pretty much how it works. And then you stack them on your head.
Let me get this straight. Like the character you're playing as a boy and a girl.
They're siblings. You play as two siblings, a boy and a girl. You can control either of them at any time, and in battles you can control them. But they have two forms in the world. You can either be their normal looking size, their Kingdom Hearts looking version, or it can be the Funko Pop version, like the small ones.
Yeah.
What size you are when you begin a random encounter is how the battle starts, like what form you're in. If you're the Funko Pop version, how it works is there's large class monsters, medium class, and small, and that's how you stack: large, medium, small. So if you're Funko Pop, you're medium size, so you have to go on top of a giant monster. So you could ride on top of a behemoth or a red dragon. Then you might stack like a chocobo chick on top of your head. And then when you're the big version of yourself, you have to stack two on top of you. So you might have a grown chocobo on top of you, and then something smaller like a mandragora or something on top of your head. And the stacking thing works two ways. Each monster has like capabilities, like let's just say like fire or water or blizzard. If you stack two of the same type on top of each other, it unlocks the more powerful version of the spell. So you get like Fira or Firaga, and that's how you do that. If you mix and match and stuff, you might get different effects, but I'll just say this, like it didn't seem like you had to focus too much on that. It's just there if you want it. The other thing is that you're stacked on top of each other. You have stability. So the more hits you take, you'll see like a swing meter that starts as like, it'll be normal, then it'll be yellow for caution, and red means you're about to topple over. So you can unstack to avoid that, and then you can reform your stack in battle.
So what happens if you topple over? You just take damage?
You get stunned. Yeah, you don't take any extra damage, but you're stunned. So on the left side, there's the action bar, basically, that shows the order. Your character icons move from the south to the north part. Once they hit the north, it's your turn. So they'll just freeze, and like the enemy will keep moving, the other character will keep moving, and you're more vulnerable when you're unstacked. Like you have shared MP or AP, you have shared health, so you have a bigger health pool. But when you're spread apart, you're weaker essentially.
Gotcha.
Are there towns?
Yes, there are towns based on Final Fantasy locations.
Nice.
Oh.
I think I could say this one part because it's not too far into the game. I did mention to a few people here, fans, really hardcore Final Fantasy fans who are stickler for like things being as accurate as possible, might have like a mental breakdown at this part. You meet a certain character from Final Fantasy VII. They tell you to meet them at their town. And if you know the main characters of Final Fantasy VII, you probably know which town this is that you're thinking of. And when you go down the mountain to go to their town, all you see on the map is this giant industrial-looking city thing that you might know from Final Fantasy VII. And you're like, that's not the town. That's not the name. That's called something else. But when you walk up to it to enter it, it has the name of the town instead of the city from the game.
But is it... When you go in,
it's loosely based on the town.
Okay.
But it's got like it has a well in the middle, but otherwise it doesn't look very much the same. It looks like
another town.
Yeah. So
I've never been more offended by anything anyone has said on this podcast.
I was a little like, really, Square Enix, you really couldn't just call it by the city name, like.
You think there's some like licensing thing there? Or
no. They just like did a weird thing.
Needs a patch.
There's a question I've got.
Go ahead.
I have not been keeping up with this game as much as I'd like to, and I haven't played the demo yet. But there have been some trailers where they're talking a ton, and I was like, wow, maybe there is more of an intense story here than the aesthetic and the style and all that stuff let on. Is that true?
Let's just say they dump a lot of lore stuff on you in the first probably 30 to 40 minutes. And it is very overwhelming. It's like, what the heck is that? Just mechanics dump and lore dump. And then it doesn't really there's like little nuggets of that, of the main story. In a nutshell, you don't remember your past. The characters don't remember the past. A character basically tells them to go into this world It's called Grimoire. Is the name of the world that like all the Final Fantasy characters live in and stuff. Basically says, go on this journey. You need to rediscover your past on your own. I can't just tell you. Like, this person knows who they are and everything. He's like, no, you need to go on a quest and, figure it out on your own. That's like the best way for you to do it. So over the course of the game, certain things trigger memories in the character's game or memories in their head to, oh, I think I remember who I am in something. And I think it wasn't until about 20 something hours in that like stuff's like the story came back to like focus again. Everything else is just I don't know. I guess I can't say like definitive opinions yet.
I need a score right now.
No score.
Put him on the spot.
Your question was about dialogue. I will say this: there is a lot of dialogue in the game, and it's all voice. Everything is voice, pretty much. Even little remote NPCs in towns, their character dialogue has voices. There is a little fox-looking character called Tama, who accompanies you through the whole game. They insert the word "the" in front of random adjectives, nouns, or verbs. So, like, we're gonna go save, instead of saying like I like the princess, or dang, I keep saying the. Like, you are a very cool person. They will say, you are a the cool person.
Why? Is it?
I don't know. I don't think I think it might be the translation in Japanese. So the game's not out in Japan yet. It's all coming out like roughly the same time. So I couldn't ask someone like, hey, or look up on YouTube, hey, does the Japanese version have a quirk that just they're trying to make it localizing it into English? It just isn't working out what they chose to do. It's extremely annoying. I feel okay saying that at this point, that was not good, and I am not really digging the voice work in general. Like the writing is trying to be humor. The main guy comes off as like a moron, like he's intentionally supposed to be stupid, and he makes like really dumb jokes because he doesn't get stuff. Like he's like an infant basically with his intelligence level. And how stupid of things and observations he makes, and it's infuriating. And they think it's funny. It's like, look how funny he is. I'm like, this is not very funny, but that's okay. It's not very appealing to me, that part of it. But there is a ton of it. But guess what, Ben Moore? There's one thing amazing about this game, because Square Enix must have foresaw that remedial battles and excessive dialogue, and you're just getting tired of some of these pointless cutscenes.
Yeah.
There is a fast forward button that
nice.
you can just like speed through battles, through dialogue, through cutscenes. I mean, you can outright skip cutscenes if you want, but if you just like want to read the text and really fast, you just like hold down the fast forward button. And it's just like, okay, I got the text and have to listen to their annoying voices. Didn't have to sit here for an hour of a pointless cutscene.
I think every JRPG should move things
Too bad
along.
they don't do that for the random encounters.
No, they don't.
They're not. You
can't speed them up?
Random encounters are not bad at all for a majority of what I played, but towards where I was at the end, holy crap! They're just like 10 steps random encounter, 10 steps. I was like, this is what I hate about old JRPGs. But the early goings, like you'd have a whole screen, you might get one encounter. I'm like, that's better.
I wonder if that is intentional, though, at that part.
I thought maybe like how it's calculated could possibly be based on your level. Like if you're a high enough level, you don't get as many, because like the logic is like enemies are scared of you since you're a tough person, so they're not going to show up. But I think it is just like by design. They just want to make it more tedious. It's like, hey, you're going up a giant tower. Let's like give you a ton of enemy battles, because you make this part that would probably be 5 minutes if you just walk without an encounter be like over an hour long.
It reminded me of, though, when he told me the area, I was like, oh yeah, it reminds me of in the original, like that, just like boom, 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 all the time. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it's still probably annoying.
Last question that I've got is, I would say the biggest selling point of this game is you going out and interacting with characters like Lightning and like Cloud, like Bart's a fan favorite.
Bart's, yeah. Bart's everyone's favorite.
Is Barthandalus in this game?
Chibi Barthandalus. But yeah, how are those interactions? How are they incorporated into the story? Are they worthwhile? Are they,
So the Final Fantasy characters, it's twofold. You encounter them over the course of the story. They appear in random places. Some of them make sense. Some of them they just are accompanying another character. They always have very brief screen time. and when they're first introduced, they're usually there just to advance you to the next plot point. They're not very significant at the time. That may or may not change later on towards the end. But after you encounter certain, they're called champions in the game, you can go through certain means and unlock them as basically a summon type attack, and use them in battle. And those are pretty cool looking. I'll say that. They play like a remix of the song. It's very flashy. I highly suggest you get the Cloud one.
Is Lightning the flashiest?
No, and it's unfortunate because it's called Gestalt, her ability, but it doesn't have the Odin thing with her.
Yeah,
It's just the
surprise.
roses and stuff and the sword.
Does it play the 13 battle music?
Does she say you dream of death?
No. No. Yeah, I think she starts on top of like a spire and it's lightning out.
Yeah.
And she calls out, she goes, "Do you need me?"
Yeah.
And she like gets
Yes, I
snapped
do.
by lightning.
That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
That's
Hell
excellent.
yeah.
So, Michael Damiani, besides the world of Final Fantasy, what has been keeping you busy, if anything?
Let's see. Should be. Well, Don had to take a break from it, but I recently finished up all the stuff for the next episode of Game Sleuth. Took forever. Don is having fun editing that. It's like 30 minutes long.
Oh my goodness!
So it's 23 minutes, I think, actually.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
Poor Don.
On average, how long was a Pop Fiction episode?
10 to 15.
That's what I thought.
minutes.
Okay.
This just had a lot of stuff involved with it. Just took a long, just takes a while to tell everything about it. That's all.
Yeah.
That took.
I'm
a lot-
hyped. It'll be good.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
took up a lot of time. Playing through Metroid Prime.
Yeah, I saw you streaming that.
Good stuff. Had forgotten how much I like that game.
When's the last time you played it?
Long time ago, sometime back at Viacom GT, probably for something. It was probably, I think the last time I touched a Metroid actually was for Corruption, actually.
You're playing the GameCube version, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not getting that benefit of the Wii versions, 16:9, and if it has any up-res visuals or anything like that. Some of the things do look dated, but at the same time, I can remember when it came out. This is over a decade-old game still, and this is what it looked like back then. It looks really good, but just the fact that it feels like a Metro game, especially after replaying the older ones, right up to leading to this, it definitely makes it really hits home the fact that Retro nailed that Metroid feeling. That this feels like I'm playing a Metro game, even though it's in 3D, even though it's in first person. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. I was like, much higher appreciation for this game because playing it through in that order.
It's funny because I was watching you stream Metroid, and I had just finished Recore, and people that worked on Metroid Prime made Recore. I'm like, these two are not the same.
See, that's the thing real quick about that. I've heard that being touted before, not just for Recore, but one of the Halo games had some of the...
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, it's going to have Metroid Prime stuff. I was like, you don't have the whole team there, and you
Right.
don't know the exact people who are there. You can always... they do that in movies a lot, where they say, from the something
From the
of something.
producers
Yeah,
of-
and it's did they really have anything
That always gets
significant to do with why the previous movie that was acclaimed was acclaimed? Yeah. It's... Same thing with games. Were they really core instrumental to making X game so great?
It depends on who. To me, it's all about the directors. So top.
Yeah, the people say oh, I want Rare to make another Banjo-Kazooie game. The people who made the Banjo-Kazooie
they're
great
gone,
are
right.
gone making ukulele right now. So I'm sorry, you're not. Rare making a new Banjo-Kazooie is probably not what you're really looking for. So,
Yeah, they did. It was nuts and bolts, and that's not what I was looking for.
It's such a puzzling thing because specifically in the case of Recore, when you say, people that worked on Metroid Prime worked on this, you create an expectation that is just almost impossible. You're not going to make a game that is as good as Metroid Prime, and so setting people up for that is not smart.
Yeah, definitely. So, Metroid Prime, good stuff. Anything else? Oh, haven't played it yet, but I saw Spirit Tracks finally came out on Virtual Console.
Oh, gosh.
So I got a few messages saying it's time to see if it's really better than Phantom Hourglass.
It is.
After having such a bad time with Phantom Hourglass again. I'm gonna start with Brad. I'm gonna say
It is better.
It
than
is.
Famous.
It has to be better. It has to be a better way.
I'm excited to get to the next conversation. We're gonna talk about Zelda. We're gonna talk about all the things. But before we talk about all the things, let's get excited with Michael Huber.
I just have one question for the panel. Do we think there will be a character in Final Fantasy 15 that has amnesia?
Who has amnesia? I'm gonna
Any
say
character encountered, even a random NPC in a town.
I feel like we know a lot of the story right now, and I'm gonna say no.
I will
Okay.
say no. Also,
I will say yes. Final
Okay, I'm
boss.
gonna say yes.
Final boss will be lightning, and she doesn't remember who she is.
Oh my god.
But you saying random NPC?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
in
they
a
could be
town,
like any
it's
random.
like,
Yeah,
I don't remember how I got
Like
here.
town acts, like.
Ugh.
I want Prompto to have amnesia, and to just have no idea what's going on, but just to be super excited and taking pictures all the time and like trying to figure it out. That's the storyline I want.
he's like Tidus reincarnated or something like that.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And he gets married to Lightning, and they have a glorious celebration at the end.
Cloud is born, and time collapses on itself.
We should, like, Square Enix, if you want to hire us, please come on down. Huber, what have you've been so busy, man. You've been doing so
Yeah,
much.
the only things I've really played are for review. So Mafia 3
Okay.
is one of the big ones.
You say that with a heavy heart.
Yeah. This game saddens me. It makes me real sad thinking about it. Everything, like, some parts of this game are so strong. Specifically the story, specifically the music, specifically the world. They're all so good, and, like, they just get ruined by, I think, what a lot of developers do, and that's check off the boxes. Quantity over quality is just something I've noticed in the industry. And for the majority of this game, the whole point of Mafia 3 is to take down, like, the main mob boss. And to do that, you have to take down his 3 capos and then the, like, 6 lieutenants. So you're working up the pyramid to, like, dismantle the operation one by one. To kill each one of these people, you have to, like, disrupt their district. Disrupting the districts for the entire game. This is like a 25-hour game. This game just drags on and on and on for like 20 hours. It's go to this point, smash some boxes, go to this point, light some boxes on fire, go to this point, steal some boxes. So you were just repeating the same thing over
So wait,
and over.
let me get this straight. There's no missions where you just go and kill one of these dudes. You
The
have to
main,
do like a
when you
build-up,
finally lure them out,
but you have to do a lure out every time.
every
Oh
time,
my God.
and it's like that'd be cool if it was like
If you're doing different things, maybe.
there's like one guy who never leaves his building. He's left like once in the last year. So for that, it makes sense. It's like,
Yeah.
cool. If this was a one-time thing where it's like, yo, this guy is always fortified. He's got a lot of like backup. He's got an army. He never comes out. Like, lure him out. But like, you're telling me every single lieutenant and capo and the mob boss are just in hiding and you have to lure them out? Like, come on. And like, sure, I mean, you can say the argument of like, well, in a lot of games, you're kind of doing the same thing throughout. You know, Call of Duty, you're shooting the same guy over and over and over again. But the act of doing the repetitive quest, the act of smashing the boxes and shooting the enemies is not fun. Mainly because the AI is so stupid. That was like the biggest flaw of the game for me. The biggest, like, we are talking crouching behind someone, dude is in the corner staring right at me, doesn't care, stab his friend in the neck. He then looks over at me and is like, huh? Like, that bad. So there's no sense of urgency, there's no stakes, it is mindless. Like, you never have to pay attention. Which is sad because, like, it's there. It's so close. Like, when these shootouts go down, like, comparing the shooting to GTA 5 is, like, night and day. Like, this shooting could be so good. Like, because the Grand Theft Auto shooting is, like, not the best, you know? The shooting in this can be so good, and, like, when things start getting crazy, you know, people start rushing with shotguns, this sick blues music starts picking up. Like, the music is so good. Things start getting so hectic and crazy. But it's just so bad because the AI is just so dumb. Even on, like, I put it on, like, max difficulty even.
Still does it.
And still, yeah. So, yikes.
You know, when you describe the story and it being good and it being the strongest aspect of the game, I think when you kind of just talk about it briefly, it sounds like a normal, you know, revenge story where you're trying to get control, you're trying to rule the city. It sounds pretty typical, but the quality of the writing and the way that they set it up is so good. I mean, by the time you're actually out on your hunt, you feel totally justified in doing it.
Yes.
They make you hate the people you're going against in a really effective way. And so to see them, like the beginning, that first hour of that game, I think is really, really strong.
Yeah.
And then just slowly, as they reveal more systems and more mechanics, it just plummets.
It's too long.
Yeah.
There's just too much repetition. And, you know, we live in such a hypersensitive time and, like, a analytical time of everything getting, like, picked apart.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
a time when, like, characters in video games are highly criticized for killing lots of people. You know, this main character, Lincoln Clay, is killing people. Like, just killing so many people. They still managed to make him sympathetic, empathetic.
So good writing.
Such good writing, such good voice acting, such good performances. Like, his best friend, Donovan, like, his old CIA Vietnam War veteran Donovan is, like, the one doing all the research. Like, he is amazing.
And I don't think those
super good.
things would hit as hard if they didn't so aggressively pursue, like, what it was like in this time. You know, they lean into the racism. They lean into just this brutality.
Yeah. It's really uncomfortable. Like, a lot of times I would walk into a store and people would all look at you and say racist things, and I'm just like,
But to me, at least, it didn't see. It was a level of shock that didn't feel empty. You know, there always seemed to be a purpose behind it. Did you get that sense too?
Totally.
Okay.
And it's cool too because you can, like, when you do it, like, people can run and call the cops, so you have to, like, chase them down. So you can, like, push them down and stuff. It's really funny.
Push
but,
him down.
it's so funny. I would go into a store and everyone would call me bad names, and then you, like, click on the owner who's like, get the hell out of here, and you just, like, punch him in the face and he drops, and, like, other people are, like, yelling at you and you just, like, slam him to the ground.
Awesome.
It was, like, pretty satisfying. And and again, like, the main missions are so fun. It's like, wow, if you made your game 1/3 shorter, you know, and
Trim the fat,
trim the fat, make your AI super good.
And it's really buggy,
We have a
right?
great game. A lot of bugs. Watch the
Right.
review. Watch the review, and you'll see some incredible bugs
Do you
captured
think
in all of their glory.
just because the series is so personal to you and you've had such a history with it that this is probably your biggest disappointment of 2016?
Easily my biggest disappointment. It's so ironic too. I was so nervous before the game came out when they first showed the driving and the police chases and how hectic and chaotic it was. And then when I finally got the game, I was like, whoa, okay, driving is actually, you know, like previous games. Sure, we're farther in the future, so the cars are faster, but, like, cars handle slow. They're not super fast. Like, you can even put on simulation driving to make it even more realistic. It's not as hectic as those trailers showed, but then other things took me more out of the game.
Gotcha.
And the Vito shows up from 2. Obviously, not a spoiler. He's one of the main sidekicks, and, like, his reasoning for being there is not forced. It's so natural and it's so nice. Like, that was another really cool thing. And there's, like, 1 or 2 more super small Easter eggs for fans of the previous games that are amazing, but it just wasn't enough to make the whole game great.
Is there anything you talked about, like the disruption stuff kind of getting, like, remedial because it's so boring? Do they ever have any missions that come to the level of involvement, say, like, when you were talking about it, I was thinking, I hate to say this, I was thinking of Boardwalk Empire with Nucky Thompson, the disrupting the supply route when what's-his-face takes over the gas station, the only gas station. Is there anything like that, like a big mission where, like, someone's holding a point and, like, it's not just go burn the boxes, you gotta, like, scout, you gotta...
When you take over a district, you attack their headquarters.
Okay.
So it's like a raid mission. Also, like, stealing boxes, like, when you have to steal things, there's no fast travel in this game, which I'm obsessed with. Except the game is so spread out and stretched along that it's brutal. Like, I love when a game has the balls to not give you fast travel because it makes you appreciate their world even more. It puts you in it. But having to drive all the way down somewhere, take a box all the way back, doing that 15 times is just, it wears out.
That's grueling.
Yeah, it was grueling. It's a grind.
God.
So, yeah.
Have you been playing anything that has made you a little bit more fulfilled?
Yes. Little game called Battlefield 1. Yes.
I'm so excited to talk about this.
Last night, the Dodgers were eliminated from the postseason playoffs. Kudos to the Cubs. Better team won. Pulling for the Cubs. Hope they take it all. Over 100 years. Can't even imagine what that's like.
That read like a prepared statement.
Yeah, he was reading up.
He proposed game.
No, for like, if I'm
We're very happy for the Cubs.
If I was 90 years old and the Dodgers still haven't won a World Series, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, when it's showing 90-year-old men and fans in the crowd, like,
Weeping.
I'm just like, whoa, okay. Like, there was always a little part of me that would have felt bad if we had knocked him out. Anyway, when that lost, I was feeling down. So I hopped into a little Battlefield 1 last night. Oh my god.
Last night was very fun.
It's so good. It's so good. Like, so, like, Brandon Jones reviewed Gears of War 4.
Mm-hmm.
And his biggest complaint is that this franchise is great, but Gears of War 4 didn't do anything to, like, really propel it to where it should be and where it can go forward,
Yeah.
And I feel like Battlefield 1 has done just that. Like, it retains everything Battlefield, and the core fundamentals are still there. You have your classes, you have your vehicles, you have your big 64-player conquest, but the setting and the weapons and the pace have all been changed just enough to make it feel like a brand new game. And that's crazy for a franchise to be able to do that a decade later.
So
without alienating, like, core fans too, and bringing new fans in, it's like such this perfect balance. Like, I see so many people that have never played Battlefield coming in, and it's just refreshing.
Fans of first-person shooters, especially ones that have been going on, I think every single time a new one comes out, regardless of how good or not it is, there's always that segment of the audience that's like, well, this isn't the same, or they changed this, or X, or Y, and Z.
I love that impression.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't the same.
I prestiged 5 times, and let me tell you, this isn't as good. Yeah, there's that crowd, wonderful people. There's a universal kind of praise that I'm seeing for Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Like, new, old, everybody loves it. And for those who aren't quite as in the know or haven't played it or just aren't as up into shooters as we are or others are, what is it about Battlefield 1 that separates it from, like, a Battlefield 4 or a Hardline?
Clearly World War I. But for me, the main thing is flow of battle.
Yes.
The flow of battle has been significantly changed, in part thanks to melee weapons and gas. Like,
Tear gas
these
or mustard gas
and mustard gas. These two things have caused so much chaos on the battlefield and disrupted everything so much. Like, going to points, like, and throwing gas at a point just disrupts everything, and it makes it so much different than, like, sure, older Battlefields had like smoke and like gas, but it just wasn't the same. Like the gas in this is so thick, you can't see. You have to charge in there, and a lot of the points because of the map design take advantage of that. Like a point will be in a trench, or a point will be on a bridge in the middle of like the forest. So there's just a lot more close quarter combat.
I'd say there's a nice balance of that, though.
Of course, there's a nice balance, and it all depends on the map. The thing I drove home on the review, I saw, I was reading a couple other reviews, and the maps are divisive, which shocked the living daylights out of me. Some people were saying, the maps are low point, but Battlefield 1 is still great. And I'm over here thinking, these are the most diverse maps ever to launch in a Battlefield game.
I feel like that's
not only aesthetically, but the way they make you play the objective. Like some maps, like the forest is just absolute chaos. It's all running and gunning. It's like, Call of Duty players hop in the forest, you'll have a blast. Whereas the fortress that we keep getting, like for whatever reason, the foul fortress,
the desert one,
the one you hate,
the Lawrence Arabia one,
I don't love that map.
I'm not a fan of that one.
It's like a weird map to play. There's all these snipers everywhere, and then the city map that is like straight up finale of Saving Private Ryan.
That's a great map.
People are in buildings upstairs, downstairs, across the way. There's back alleys, like then the Swiss Alps.
That's my favorite level.
You're like charging uphill. The San Quentin Scar has the trenches, so it's a lot of trench warfare. Every map is just so different.
Going back to that flow of battle, something that was really key for me, and actually took me a while to adjust to, is in other Battlefield games, like going back to Battlefield 4 and 3 and even before that, a lot of times playing Conquest on PC on these huge maps, there would be a lot of downtime. And it wasn't necessarily bad, like just getting to the objective, finding enemies, there would be long periods of time where that didn't happen. The way that the maps are structured in Battlefield 1, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, something always feels like it's happening. Like, regardless of where you spawn, you have something to worry about in a really cool way. There's just this sort of constant level of intensity that's always playing, and then it spikes in a really crazy way, and you start freaking out. And initially, that took me a long time to get used to, and almost in a negative way, where I was like, spawn, die, there's snipers everywhere, I can't tell where I'm being shot from. It was just a level of chaos that it took me hours to kind of wrap my head around, but once I did, I actually think the maps are well designed enough, and you can start to strategize and find a way of navigating through that chaos and still perform well.
I feel like some of the maps had like locations, specifically like the ballroom area that we were like obsessed. The ballroom blitz area.
The ballroom blitz.
Like literally,
the ballroom.
There was literally like things that every single class could do in that one tiny area that they excel in. Like the sniper people were on like the little perches outside or whatever, and we were like in the trenches with the gas on, like shotguns blazing, dude. Ben's over there resin people and everything like that. Oh my god, dude.
Metal Gear comes, or was it Metal Gear or Dark Knight? I forget. Someone came in on a horse, like through the
building.
Then you get some maniac walking down the hallway with like a flamethrower, just like roasting everyone. Oh my god, it was beautiful.
I know this has been done well in other Battlefield games also, but it's been a while since I've dug so deeply into a Battlefield game that the way the classes feel, and every single time I switched a class or I messed with a new weapon, I always felt like my role mattered, and that I never regretted picking something. And I feel like a huge part of that is, like, if you're a medic or if you're a support and you're doing the right things, you don't even have to be killing people. Like, you can get so many points and you can get up there on the scoreboard. And I think that's so important, and they do an excellent job of it.
Yeah. It's amazing. Just want to play right now.
Just how good it looks and how good it runs. Like, I've been playing on PC and console, and holy cow.
Yeah.
A sight to behold.
Yeah, game is beautiful.
Especially coming off Battlefield 4's like launch problems too, like over a month of just
Oh my god,
not
smooth.
Good.
Like bad.
Yeah, launch day I think it was down. There was that DDoS attack. I don't know how much that contributed, but launch day was down.
You can't fault
for
them for that though.
Yeah, it was down for like an hour.
We ran into a few glitches here and there, but nothing like too bad, I would say.
Yeah, other than that, it's
except navigating Origin, which we just hate.
Yeah.
Question for you. So they've been what with Battlefield 1, like they've been doing in a lot of EA games, is you could do Origin, if you have Origin access or EA access on Xbox, you could get 10 hours pretty early, and then they had the early enlister edition. So you had this kind of slow trickle of people coming in, the hardcore Battlefield fans, and then everybody got it last Friday. Do you think that helped with the server things, and are you cool with that?
Yeah, and actually there is something I want to say on Frame Trap. We got, this is Frame Trap, on Bossman's podcast. We were talking about early access and paying more to access a game early, and I was like pretty upset because I was like, yo, Battlefield, they get an extra edge, they get to learn the maps, they get better weapons. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say that I was wrong because the weapons in this, it's a matter of preference.
Yes,
you know?
Totally.
There's no real OP meta weapon. When you level up your class maybe once, which takes only a couple rounds, you can unlock maybe a slightly better gun than the original one you start with. But other than that, it is completely a matter of preference for your gun, which is refreshing. You know,
Well,
there's way less weapons to make it way more balanced. Like StarCraft 2 style, 3 races, get that perfect balance. We don't need 100 weapons.
Absolutely. I always get really upset when people see a number of weapons that isn't as crazy as like if Call of Duty, and I'm like, wait, what? Am I gonna get bored? No, and it's like if you have to sacrifice that stuff to make a more interesting game,
less is more.
Totally. That tear gas.
Gas.
Just that chaos of when you're putting on your mask and you're like, I can't see anything. I'm on this point.
I love that you can't aim down your sights.
Can't aim down the sights.
I love that.
Yes, very smart decision.
Dude, whenever the enemy is going heavy tear gas, I bring out the shotgun because it has good hip fire.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm going in there.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys hear about the new like Easter egg that they found?
Oh my god.
Okay, you know how every Battlefield has like an Easter egg?
Yes, the shark.
In this one, there's like headphones laying around on the map, apparently, and people don't know what they do yet.
What?
So the hunt has just begun.
Internet,
Yes.
save me. What is it? The internet will crack it.
What is it?
Da Vinci Code, internet.
Something I want to talk about real quick, the last point I want to bring up on Battlefield 1 is these mega vehicles that you can bring in. The Zeppelin.
Behemoth.
Dude, the train.
The behemoths.
Yeah. I have my own feelings on them, but I want to get Huber's take. How do you think they affect the flow of the match?
I absolutely adore them. From what I've seen so far, they give the losing team, usually, especially in operations, when the new game mode operation, you're attacking. When the attack fails, you'll get reinforcements. With the reinforcements comes a behemoth. And I love that because it's natural. It feels good. It's like, yo, reinforcements now. Like, let's get a final push. And I love that it's a separate battle going on. You know, it reminds me of like Star Wars. You know, Star Wars does it best when there's like 7 battles going on at once. It reminds me of that because like we're down here busting into the ballroom.
Yeah, you're here on Endor right now.
We're here on Endor going in there. They're up attacking the freaking Death Star.
Yeah.
Like planes going in. So I love it. And it's like Levolution times 10 because when the freaking Zeppelin crashes anywhere on the map at any time and destroys everything in its path on the ground, every time, no matter where I am, if I'm behind enemy lines, I'm just like staring at it. Yep.
It's whenever they put something like that, such a dramatic catch-up mechanic into a game, whether it's a shooter or a fighting game or whatever it is, I always get really worried because they tend to not work out very well. They tend to be annoying.
Yeah.
But in Battlefield 1, it just felt like a moment. Like, I would be taking points with my friends, and then somebody would say, oh my god, there's a Zeppelin above us! Yeah. And it was exciting and intense, but it never felt cheap. Like, I never felt like if we were losing because of that. And, you know, it's still the early days. I could change my opinion in a week or a month or whatever, but right now, it just seems to go into, again, that flow of the match we were talking about, just perfectly. Like, there's this little groove and it slides right in.
A big thing too was the gun emplacements on the map have been they're so much more important than they've ever been in a Battlefield game. Not only like artillery and machine guns on the ground because those weapons are so powerful compared to what you are equipped with. Like a heavy mounted machine gun mows people down, with the behemoths, especially the Zeppelin, the anti-air emplacement is so strong and so viable to take that down. And the fact that you can pick off certain pieces of it to reduce its armaments, like you can pick off a piece, it loses a gun. Yeah, it's good. Because then, like, when I'm up in it, I'm looking down for those anti-air emplacements, trying to focus on them. So again, it's just this, there's so many games within games in a match of Battlefield. It's never the same.
Maybe Overwatch, I guess, but I feel like with a lot of shooters in the last 3 years, I've never been very confident that I'm going to stick with them. Mm-hmm. I honestly feel like I'm going to be playing Battlefield 1 until the next one comes out. That's how good it is.
Yep.
And it's so exciting to say.
It's exhilarating. It is. Okay.
You got anything else you want to hit me with?
That's it.
Fast and loose. All right.
Nice.
Brad?
I don't have any new games that no one else has been playing.
That's fine.
I've been playing Battlefield, of course, with all you guys.
Yeah.
A little Overwatch on the side for that Halloween event.
How is that? Tell me about it. I haven't been keeping up.
Okay,
tell me
so
about
the
it.
Halloween event, there's new skins and everything like that. There is a new brawl mode where it's essentially like a horde of enemies coming at you, and you like have to stop like a tower defense kind of thing like that.
Love tower defense.
And you can only play as McCree, 76, Ana,
Mercy.
and no, not Mercy. Who was it? Another damaged character, Hanzo, I think. But there's bosses in it. There's like boss waves.
Wait, so do you have to defend a point?
Yes.
And they're coming at
like think of TF2 man vs machine kind of, but like scaled down quite a bit.
Okay.
So like what?
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, on piggyback on that, they have like some of the maps like Hollywood is like Halloween themed now. Mm-hmm. So like it's darker out. There's like Halloween decorations everywhere.
All the maps are
no, not all of them.
How many?
Just this one, pretty much.
Okay.
Just Hollywood, but yeah.
Okay.
So you're defending against these waves. There's like Reinhardt is narrating the entire battle as you're going through. He's like telling the story of Dr. Like Junkenstein's. Junkrat is Frankenstein. He made his Frankenstein monster, which of course is Roadhog.
Yeah.
So you're going through the battle, and there's phases like a boss will come in, like Reaper's like the first boss, and Reinhardt will like narrate like some really epic dialogue talking about Reaper coming in and like fighting all you guys, and it's really cool using like trying to use your abilities like a PvE kind of manner. Like when I did it, someone would like be on and sleep dart Reaper, then I would high noon it and just like take him down in one shot. But it takes a little bit, like using like strategies that like in a kind of like a different way, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just like a fun little distraction, I would say.
Yeah.
It's not like game changing, like holy shit. Yeah, it's just like a fun little thing like that.
Cool.
And it's cool because there's like leaderboards for it, and you could see everything like that. But besides like the new skins, there's like Halloween skins you can get now, like the Olympics one. There's Halloween boxes, I should say. Mm-hmm. The Olympics, but now you could buy the skins. Like for the Olympics one, you could not.
Right.
You had to get in the box no matter what. But you can buy them now, but they're just like 3 times the price.
Sure.
And everything like that, which is cool.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I just wish there was something for completing the brawl. Like, if you could a progression for the brawl itself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I love that it is, it's fine that it is like this distraction, you know, super fun, PvE, cool. But I wish there was something, maybe if you could earn the Halloween loot boxes for completing it, like something, I don't know.
I mean, you get them for leveling up, though.
Yeah.
Which isn't that bad. Or it doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Like, you want a more specific reward for doing a specific thing.
Yeah, or if there were like difficulties for it too.
There
like
is.
Heroic
There
and
is.
mythical.
Or if there were
difficulties.
specific challenges unique to that brawl that you had
Yeah.
to complete, and like if you did a really easy one, you got appropriate loot. But if you did something really, really hard that only a small percentage of players could do, you got something.
But
more
there is
substantial.
stuff like that in the game, like for a ranking system, you can get like specific, like
That's true.
Like a avatar thing, kind of things like that to set you apart. You can get gold guns, which I absolutely hate gold guns always.
Can
Here
we
we
go?
go.
Like,
Here we go.
really though, what was the first game with gold guns? Was it Call of Duty? Like gold weapon
It was
skins?
that or like Gears of War.
I'm not.
I don't know.
GoldenEye doesn't count.
Okay.
Because that's an actual golden gun.
But then they have skins for all of them though too. You can make them all gold. I can't remember.
Dude, golden, like, it's not cool.
I mean,
It's not cool.
I feel
anymore.
like you could do so much better.
Was it ever cool?
No,
No, it's never been cool ever.
it's not cool.
I feel like I'm hoping it's just like a first thing. Like, okay, let's just put something out right now.
Yeah.
Just to get it across. I'm hoping there'll be something more substantial, better looking,
Yeah.
like more creativity, I guess. Like I don't want a fucking gold skin.
God.
I think it would be cool because Overwatch is a Blizzard game if instead of gold fucking guns,
You're better than that, Blizzard.
you had like this sick Diablo gun,
Yeah.
or Warcraft gun, or Starcraft
Rainer's
gun.
rifle or
Yeah,
something.
like make it feel
76 has Rainer's rifle.
or
would be
Reinhardt.
awesome.
Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Doomhammer.
right.
Like,
it
come
just
on.
seems really obvious and something a lot of people.
I
would be
think
into and be
more stuff like that
elegant.
will come eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like a first step. I'm just like, I get it. Like, you could do so much better, Blizzard. You're better than this.
Yeah.
And you know you are.
If you like golden guns, if you have an argument for golden guns, I want to hear it.
Yeah, me too.
Right
I want
in.
somebody to defend golden guns
Yeah.
because I've never
I'm
heard a defense for
genuinely curious.
You know what? I don't want to hear it. I don't even care. I've been playing Origami on the side still.
Yeah.
That I talked about last time. I just finished Dark Souls 3 yesterday. I played
Wait,
through
what?
the entire thing recently because I bought for PC now. Because I
Okay.
played on PS4 originally, got the platinum, blah blah blah, did all that. Now the DLC's coming out, and I was like, okay, this is the time. Bought it on PC. Ooh man, on PC it's very nice.
It's so good.
It's so good.
yeah.
few games ever in my life will come out that make me stop everything. I could be buried in deadlines for Easy Allies. It could be my parents' anniversary, you know. My brother's having kids. Dark Souls 3 DLC comes out.
Yeah.
Locking my doors. See you later.
Yeah.
So pumped. This comes out Monday? Dark Souls.
Tuesday. Okay,
Tonight.
no, let me
Monday
clarify
night,
this.
9
Let me
p.m.
clarify this. It got released early on Xbox. Someone on Xbox blew it and released
It's
it
already
early.
out?
Yes,
They're-
on
they're-
Xbox One, it is out.
There are reviews
People
out.
are
Tons of people have already
streaming
finished
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's out, dude. Duck and
Yeah,
cover.
see, I've been so buried under a rock.
Yeah,
that
keep
I'm
stay
so
under a rock.
Stay under that rock.
Didn't
yeah.
even know that.
Stay under that rock, my friend.
Okay.
I just want to say about the DLC. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to detail anything.
Don't look at
But that second boss fight is a sight to behold.
Top tier.
Excellent.
Yeah. It probably worth the price of admission just for
Heck
that
yeah.
fight.
Excellent. So I've been playing through it again recently. I just beat every boss and everything.
Yeah.
And I had a new appreciation for weapon arts this
Yeah.
time around. I felt myself using them way more this entire run through. Like this run through, I would switch off between two weapons a lot. Like I used the Store's Greatsword, quality build by the way this time, just switch it up. Then the Lothar Greatsword, and I'd use the Store's Greatsword just because it has like a ramming thing for its weapon art. It's a charge, dude. It's a charge with the Greatsword. It's incredible.
Nice.
Then, like, if I was fighting like a huge guy with like a Cathedral Knight, huge shield, I bust with the Lothar Greatsword because the R2 or the weapon art that is like a huge upswing and like
Yeah.
breaks their guard, dude. So then you can go up to them and like visceral attack them, right?
Who was the dude down in the ruins? It was like an optional fight. He had a huge great shield.
Night Slayer Sorg or something like that.
Dude, that guy was
Wait,
so
what?
hard. Yeah,
He would
he's wearing,
he
like,
would invade you at a few parts. Then you would find him in spoilers, I guess, Lost Izalith.
Oh.
He's down there. Night Slayer Sorg, I think his
Dude,
name
that
is.
guy.
Yeah. I remember
He
that.
had a sick weapon.
He has Targus' armor from Dark Souls 1.
Nice.
Awesome guy.
I'm so glad you found that new appreciation for weapon arts because I feel like
I-
a lot of people dismissed it because it wasn't
I liked
as...
them, but I didn't use them as much as I
Right,
should have. This
right.
time I used them a lot. Like I had like the Ashen Estus flask. Like I actually used one the whole time.
Yeah.
To refill my mana, which I never did before.
I'm bummed because I used the weapon arts the entire game, but it never felt like I was using a weapon art because I had the axe.
Oh, so
it
you're
was
doing
like
the spin to win thing?
no. So it was like berserk mode.
Oh, that one.
I actually like that weapon art.
No,
Yeah.
I like the weapon art,
Yeah.
but it didn't
feel like a
feel like a
different move
weapon
or
art
anything?
because it's like
Right.
a normal like. Usually in games, give me an axe. I got some like berserk
Right.
move. It didn't feel like a special move, you know.
Yeah,
I
use
totally-
the Black Knight.
I totally understand
axe.
that, but I think that's what I like about weapon arts the most is how subtle they are and how
Yeah.
long it takes to figure out when and where they're useful. You know, it's like kind of Brad is saying, I don't think it's something that you really get to enjoy on a first playthrough, but as you understand the fights a little bit better, as you kind of give yourself a little bit more room to maneuver, they become more useful, and I think that's awesome. Like, it feels like every game that comes out these days, and I'm generalizing here, but I think it's true, has to have, like, this is why you need to pay attention to this. Here's this big, ridiculous thing, and there's nothing super flashy in Dark Souls 3, its combat system. But I like those.
I mean, some weapon arts I feel like are pretty flashy, like the Faram Greatsword, for example, or that they use. They use like the spin attacks and like that. But it's never like too ridiculous. Right. I'm like, okay, this is Devil May Cry now.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And even if you do stuff like that, it's like a huge like risk to do stuff like that. But yeah, Dark Souls 3, still great, still amazing.
I feel like maybe it's because of Bloodborne before, which was kind of a left turn. And because this is the third Dark Souls game, there just hasn't been the same level of appreciation for Dark Souls 3, and I think I like it more than a lot of people. Like, I think it is.
It's my second favorite Souls game.
It's my favorite Souls game.
Yeah, I love it. I think like some alone, like I love Lothric, like all of Lothric, like going through the ramparts and going through the castle. I love all that. It's so good.
Yep.
Like nothing will beat the impact.
I mean, yeah,
Dark
the
Souls
first impact is like
insane. Right. Dark Souls 1, like a trip like no other, but I think Dark Souls 3 is Dark Souls refined. And man, there's just some really cool twists and subtle nods to Dark Souls 1, like looking back, you know? Oh my, I don't want to spoil that moment. Yeah.
Oh, dude, especially with DLC coming out, man. Because, dude, Dark Souls 1 DLC, Artorias of the Abyss, is incredible. DLC.
I think that and Undead Nightmare are probably like top 2 for me.
Dude, Artorias of the Abyss is so good. I cannot
What
wait
about
to see.
Old Hunters?
I like Old Hunters more.
I like Old Hunters, but I think I actually like Artorias of the Abyss more.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my mind, Dark Souls 3 is Dark Souls 2. Like, Dark Souls 2 is like this...
Dark Souls 2 is like a weird step, kind of. Like, good, just weird step. 3 kind of feels like... feels like the proper sequel, I guess.
Well, I think if... It just... You can connect Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1.
So much easier.
It feels like a direct sequel.
It does.
In a weird way.
does.
So, awesome. Brad, you got anything else you want to hit us with? By the way, before we move on... I gotta, just everything that's going on right now, I'm into it. This shirt is amazing. I don't know if I've seen you wear it before. You got a Bloodborne pin.
I got the Kojima one right there.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, man.
Too cool, man. Too cool. Sorry, did you have anything else? I was distracted by your...
I am doing other work. Can't talk about, though.
Yeah.
Just so people don't think I'm not doing anything.
Big.
Stuff's cooking.
Yeah. Good stuff is cooking. I'm so excited that I get to say some things about this game. I know you guys aren't that big into it.
I played last night, and I need your help. I know exactly what you're going to talk about. I know exactly what you're saying. I need help.
Let's talk about Civilization 6.
Yes.
Let's talk about Civilization 6.
I need help, Ben. I did the tutorial. I still didn't know what the hell was going on. Like...
All right, hold on.
The HUD, dude. I don't know where to like read my information, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
How many resources? Do I have? I see like plus 2.3.
Yeah.
But then when I build something, it costs 40. How?
All right, so let's do a very brief before I say how I feel about Civ 6. Let's do a very brief tutorial on Civ 6. So I actually pretty much started this series with Civ 5, and I think I felt exactly what you felt, where it was like, I need to make this thing, and I'm getting production, but how is that measured out? And it now that I know it, it seems so obvious, but at the time it was very confusing. And the frustrating thing about Civ 6 is I think there are things that should just be turned on immediately. Like, you need to turn on your yields. You need to see what every tile gives you at any given moment, and that's so important. And I think what you maybe don't understand is when you settle a city, right?
Yeah.
You control a certain amount of hexes with that city. You can gain the benefits of those tiles. So like if a tile has 3 food and 1 production on it, you can gain benefits from that tile without using a builder to improve it, but the population of your city determines the amount of tiles that you can work.
Okay.
He forgot already.
Yeah,
He's saying
it sounds too confusing.
That makes sense.
So-
I did the tutorial twice.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say when you start your city, you have one population.
Yeah.
That means you have one citizen essentially.
Okay.
Let's say you control 6 tiles. You can choose one of the. You have to on the bottom right. There's like a head of a man.
Yeah.
Click that. You can choose which tile that citizen is working. The game will do it for you automatically. But you want to get in there. Let's say you want to grow faster so you can get more people to work more tiles, or you want more production. You can control where those people go.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make some amount of sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, just tell us your thoughts, and then we'll
Okay.
talk about some other stuff. Just tell us about Civ.
It's so good, man. Okay, so Beyond Earth is a game that I review, and I have no problem saying this. I gave it too high of a score. I think just the goodness of Civ 5 and me not being as familiar and not having as thorough of an understanding as I probably should have probably overrated it. I still think there are some really cool things in Beyond Earth, but overall it was a disappointment, and the community was right to be disappointed. It was a very bland, dull game where and even its best ideas I don't think were fully thought through. And so I went into Civ 6 with a healthy amount of skepticism, just because I think over time I became really sour about Beyond Earth, and pretty immediately I was like, oh, this seems really smart. But I felt that hesitation, and the more I played, and about a week before the review started coming out, and I had about 30-40 hours in Civ 6, I was able to say, no, this is great. And I think what makes it so great is it's not this dramatic departure. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's just Civ 5, and I guess if you look at it very basically, the general framework of Civ 5 is there. There aren't a zillion changes that you can list out, but I think the things that they did change are just so important and so dramatic. And I think just right off the gate, the thing I want to say is Civ 6 has such a personality to it. It looks so good.
The aesthetic is so cozy.
It is. The music that plays, the music
yeah.
is an incredible soundtrack. And
There's a warmth.
there is
the
a
game.
warmth, and I think it's just every element seems so considered. I know a lot of people like it, but in Civ 5 you just have these white clouds covering everything, and it just seems like, oh, we need some sort of fog of war, so here's a super obvious answer.
The map.
Yeah,
so cool.
you're on this like sort of parchment, and you're slowly uncovering, and it burns away, and it just has this level of drama to it. And I think the other thing is they make what you uncover and what you build feels so much more important and looks so good. When you build a wonder, you get a movie and you're like, oh my god, there's Stonehenge. You're seeing it built piece by piece and Sean Bean is narrating it. Or when you find a wonder, you're like, oh, that's the Great Barrier Reef and it's so colorful and it's sparkling at me. It's just... It's a turn-based strategy game that is very reliant on numbers, right? And they somehow find a way to make it exciting and awesome and epic in a way that Beyond Earth wasn't. So that's a big thing. But the other thing is like in Civ 5, you pretty much just cram everything in the city center for the most part. So you're just sort of... You have this one space and you're slowly expanding it over time. And the thing with Civ 5 is you could kind of just get into this attitude where you sort of have a plan that you're going for and you
hunker down.
You hunker down, you burrow into it. In Civ 6, you can't do that. And some people are going to be annoyed by it, but I feel like the game makes you pivot so often. And a big part of that is cities are now unpacked. And so to get a lot of the benefits from like science or culture or military to focus on those things, you need to build districts. You need to build a campus, and that's going to give you your science. You need to build a theater square, and that's going to give you your culture. And where you put those is extremely important. So it's like the campus gets a benefit from being adjacent to a mountain or being like next to a wonder. And so you have to have this forethought where you're like, okay, I'm going to put this here, and then later I'm going to put these other things around it and make those benefits, even more dramatic. And it's hard to do at first. I think your first couple of games, you're not going to know how to kind of structure those things out. But it also makes your start extremely important. I think more important than past Civ games, because if you aren't going to get the benefits from building the specific thing, should you do it? Maybe, depending on the circumstances, depending on what the other players are doing, depending on the technology and the culture that you've boosted. It's just one single turn can make you question everything you've been doing up to that point.
Oh, no.
you might be like, all right, I'm going to go. I've got a good start. I've got a lot of faith. I've found a religion before anything else. I'm going to prioritize that. Something happens. Greece invades you, and you have to, you're pivoting all the time. And I feel like less often than ever, I'm just hitting next turn and not thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even where your scouts are exploring feels more important because barbarians are so aggressive. Barbarians will destroy you in the early game, even on the lower difficulties. Like, you can just be surrounded before you know it, and that's something you have to pay attention to. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't need to worry about my military. Suddenly you're pumping units out. And it's incredible. It's an incredible game. I'm trying not to get too into the weeds because I feel like there are a lot of things that I could talk about.
We could
that
talk
maybe
about
wouldn't.
Civilization for 3 hours.
Yeah, I wouldn't register, but
will you stream it with me?
Yeah, I would love to stream it with you.
I want help.
Yeah,
because again, like life-altering moment in my life was StarCraft 1. You know, playing that game, beating my head against the wall, being like, dude, what the hell? This is so impossible. Oh my god, I don't understand this. I can't do this. Playing it and like that moment clicking changed the course of my entire video game tastes in life.
Yeah.
Because it's like, whoa, I get it now.
Right.
I'm seeking that moment in Civilization 6. But it would be an honor
Yeah,
if I could stream it with you, dude.
Another game that I've been playing, Monster Hunter, it has the same quality where you can't just play a tutorial, you can't just play a game and then have suddenly everything make sense. It's a very slow process where you just sort of get one thing at a time and you stack it all on top of each other, and eventually over a period of months or even years, you finally feel like you have a pretty comprehensive understanding. So it's slow going, but it's worth it. It's so satisfying. There's one point that I forgot that I do want to bring up is I think they've done an excellent job of making each civilization stand out a little bit more, and they've made their benefits more dramatic and more powerful than they were in Civ 5. Like, being Gorgo and just every kill you get culture, and just they make the like aggressive, like Montezuma is a real jerk and he's got really powerful early game, and he'll just come and he'll like take your builders and stuff or make builders out of your units, and I like that. I think in Civ 5 there would be a lot of times where I'd pick somebody because it might give me a slight edge here, but it didn't sort of shape the course of my game. Whereas America, when I have a +5 combat bonus on my continent, that feels appropriate.
Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt, big stick. It's good.
Gandhi still OP?
I haven't played Gandhi yet, but I love the way that they've characterized Gandhi. Like they've made his head like, "Hey Arnold," like, and he's just like, he comes up to you and he's like, "Hey, I'm Gandhi. Let's be friends." And you're like, "All right, Gandhi. All right, Arnold. Let's be friends." Yeah, it's a very long head. The other thing that I really want to talk about is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Oh, yeah, tell me about this.
And I know you've been playing it, Hubert, and I know it's fashionable to hate Call of Duty. I know people just dogpile on it because, it's the big dog in town, it's been popular for so long, whatever. But I really like Black Ops 3. And I played Black Ops 3 the other night, and I had a blast, and I think that game has a lot going for it.
Call of Duties for me.
Yeah.
Story and multiplayer.
It's very good. I don't like Modern Warfare. Or at least
Infinite
the multiplayer.
Warfare.
Sorry, not Modern. I love Modern Warfare.
Oh, yeah.
Whoops.
Everyone right now is like, whoa!
Yeah, no,
Pitchforks down.
I love Modern Warfare.
Everyone's like,
Yeah. Infinite Warfare. I've been playing the beta, and I've put about 8 to 10 hours in it, I think, if I had to guess. And it just kind of seems both all over the place and like it's not really doing anything special. Like there's nothing. It doesn't feel like it has an identity to it the way past Call of Duty games have. And I think a big problem for me. So they've been releasing maps slowly. They've been trickling them out over the course of the beta, and some are much stronger than others. I do think the later ones are really, really good. Some of the early ones I've been playing they're just trash. Like, I'm totally comfortable saying with it. They're bad.
I'm not like MLG enough with Call of Duty to understand understand the insane intricacies of Call of Duty maps.
Sure.
And to me, I can never appreciate them. You know, like Battlefield relies so heavily on the environment, whereas anytime I'm playing Call of Duty multiplayer, it's like, yo, who's in front of me?
Yeah.
Who's around me? You know, it's like I'm not playing the map. I'm playing shoot person.
Right. I'm not a professional first-person
Yeah.
shooter player either, but I do think there are some things that you can sense, right? Like in Battlefield, when we were talking about how the maps are laid out enough where you always feel like you're kind of being funneled to a dramatic, exciting moment. And I feel like there's one map in particular in Infinite Warfare that really bums me out. It's the space station map where everything is really
Hallway,
cramped together,
yeah.
but you can like pop up out of the ground and there's like an underground area, but the way that it's all laid out, there's no flow to it. It feels like every single firefight I'm getting to, I can't really think about my placement or where I'm going. I'm just totally relying on the mini map and those red dots. It feels like chaos in a bad way where it makes no sense and you can't study it and learn and get better. It just feels random for the sake of random. Yeah. And whether I'm winning or losing, it doesn't really matter. It's just
it has
so
like an artificial
off the wall.
feeling.
Yeah. And the other thing I think is the movement is back from Black Ops 3. So you can wall run and boost and slide. One, it doesn't feel as fluid as it did in Black Ops 3. I feel like in Black Ops 3 I could kind of like get up to places, get around, and move quicker. There was a snappiness to it that is... It's like they've scaled it back in Infinite Warfare, and maybe they've done it intentionally. But I feel like the maps don't do a good job of arguing for that extra mobility. There are a lot of times where I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
But why would I here?
Right, and having played a lot of Titanfall 2 recently, I feel like mastering that advanced mobility and getting up and running around gives you such an immediate and obvious benefit.
Especially in Black Ops 3, like some of those maps, like the Redwood. I saw so many ridiculous videos where people would float outside of the map and like catch a little thing and then like hop up and do it again.
Right.
And I just haven't seen that in Infinite Warfare.
No. It's weird. And the rig thing is sort of like the specialist, but I feel like it's even more generic. Like
tripling down on unlocks.
Yeah, that's true.
And leveling up.
But like you're this human rig, and you get like this gun. Like it's just when I fill up this meter, I get this more powerful gun, and it shoots things really fast. But it's not fun or unique or cool. Like there's just nothing there.
None of the guns are like cool new sci-fi weapons or anything?
They are, but I'm talking specifically. So you have this rig, and your rig determines like this kind of super ability that you get, and over time it'll fill up. And like the human one is you get like this weird. It kind of looks cool, like almost crossbow looking thing that shoots extremely fast in a wide arc. But when you play it out, it's just like I got a
because when they revealed this Call of Duty. And it was like in space. I was like, cool, let's get really weird and like sci-fi and have like really crazy fun weapons and stuff like that. It doesn't really sound like that.
They have it a little bit. I mean, you have energy weapons that, make a pew-pew and regenerate ammo over time, but it's... I don't think you feel it as much as you want to be feeling.
And I think... I don't want this to turn into a shit talk on Call of Duty because like you were just saying, Ben, Black Ops 3 is so good. It's so top tier. Absolutely. There's just been like an inconsistency with the franchise, I think. And
different studios.
And it's different studios, and it's a yearly game. We get it every single year now, Call of Duty. I'm a little worried about Infinite Warfare post-beta. But again, it's still a beta. So we'll see where it goes from there. But I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I feel like I've been playing it enough to express that worry,
Absolutely. And the sci-fi mystique has kind of worn out its welcome a little bit now, Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 2 even, and now 3. Now again, it's like, all right, science fiction is the new modern, so...
Yeah,
that novelty is not as unique anymore.
Right, totally. And you just have two prominent shooters coming out that I do think stand out far better. So I think Battlefield 1, going back to the past, they've kind of nailed that aesthetic. Like we said, like just seeing the Zeppelins overhead, it's such a moment that you haven't really felt before. And even Titanfall 2, the Titans, having them all have different abilities, and you're a Ronin with a ninja sword. It's just I can't find that hook in Infinite Warfare, that thing to latch onto and make me excited to play it.
I'll tell you.
Tell me.
The campaign.
Right.
Always a blast.
Right.
Every single year. Call of Duty's campaign is so good. That was the one mark against Battlefield 1. It was stronger than previous Battlefields. I know a lot of people say Bad Company obviously that campaign's great. But Call of Duty every year just destroys the campaign. It's so good. I have such a blast with it.
Ghosts, man.
We don't talk about ghosts. All right, we don't talk about it. There's one really cool moment in Ghosts I always come back to, though, in the campaign.
Yeah.
Definitely the worst campaign. But there's that one moment when you're in shallow water and you crouch walk fully submerged under the water and, like, pick someone down. It's like knife them down into the water. Just a memorable moment. I don't know. I always come back to it.
Call of Duty Ghosts out now.
Been out for a while.
Not for a while. Guys, it's... Oh, go ahead.
So, I am really sorry to interrupt, but I forgot a game that I played that I really wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Your shooting stuff made me remember it.
Yeah.
So, one of our patrons, I can't always pronounce the name right,
Seraphim Bahan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The first part was nice enough to send me a demo code for Valkyria Azure Revolution.
Oh my God! Tell me about this.
So the new Valkyria Chronicles game. So I'll preface this by saying it was all in Japanese. So there's a little bit of fumbling for a bit, figuring out how everything works. So in essence, it is still basically the Valkyria style where everything moves in real time. Like enemies react to you in real time as you're moving. The thing is, it's not turn-based anymore in the sense that it's not a strategy RPG so much anymore.
What?
There is some strategy to it, but it's not like, hey, you have time to think about your turn and stuff like that. If you're out in the open, if you're not taking cover, you're out in the open. Enemies are constantly moving around, so it's more of like an action RPG now. And everything is completely in real time. You can toggle between you pick 4 squad members to go into each mission, and the environments are very similar to the Valkyria Chronicles. They didn't feel as grand in scale, but maybe that's because it was just a demo. They're a little bit more claustrophobic, and it focuses a little bit more on like close quarters combat.
Mm-hmm.
Shotguns?
I didn't have shotguns, but it does work in the old system where you can take out, if you're a scout type class, you can take out your rifle, you can aim and shoot.
Okay,
you have
thank
you can do the sniper thing. It looks the exact same. You can toss the Ragnite grenade and stuff like that. It's just that when you're aiming, it lets you aim and everything stops for that part of it still. But everything else is still in real time. And the thing I can say, like, you have those turn-based style actions, but then you have these real-time combat actions. Excuse me. You have like melee combat attacks. Excuse me.
Oh
that are like a combo attack that you have. You have spell-based abilities. You have like this spell bar you can go to. You have all your different abilities. You can either heal. You can do elemental-based damage. It'll show you the area of effect where you're gonna hit stuff like that. Apparently you could swap in and out your abilities as you unlock new ones. The demo gave you a ton of them, though, to try out. But I think the biggest thing is that it feels a little off to me compared to... Like, I'm seeing everything play out, and I just can't help saying, I wish this was Valkyria Chronicles 4. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks really good. It looks okay. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't look like it's text in the PS4. It looks like...
Quick question. Is the art style still the same as like the original one?
It's roughly the same. When you're aiming, like when you toss a smoke grenade, it does the same effect with like the edges and stuff, but that's not really going on.
But like the way the characters look, like drawn and everything, like
it's a little different. It's not exactly the same, but it's very close. I feel, because there's more character variation. They're not all in the same uniform. Each character has a distinct look.
yeah. Okay, hold on. Okay, I remember seeing something for this game a while ago,
Yeah.
and like they were wearing like, it felt like anime like pop idol like outfits or something like that, like really weird, like not consistent with that world.
They're like.
Because like in the original one, everyone had like
I
military
don't know why
uniforms.
you'd be going out into battle in some of these outfits. I will say that it is definitely trying to appeal to that audience. The enemies are all dressed in like uniforms
Okay.
and stuff. It's still trying to maintain that at least, but they did stray a little bit from that.
Okay.
Like, it didn't break the immersion of war pretty much in the older ones because everyone was in a uniform. Everyone looked like they belonged on that battlefield. No one was wearing this long flowing dress. You know, wearing
Looking
using
like a Final
rapier.
Fantasy character out there.
Yeah. There was one boss battle that I liked that you have to basically use your characters in conjunction together to take down certain parts. So now you can target the different parts of like enemies and bosses to basically exploit like the weak point, stuff like that. But the thing is, because they're moving in real time now, they don't always give you like the easiest opportunity to hit that and stuff. So it felt like I was fumbling a lot in terms of like, because in old Valkyria, it'd be like, I can take my time, line up the shot and everything, move around the spot. But as you're moving, the thing's protecting itself. It's like, I'm not just going to let you like stroll up to me and you know, hit me and stuff. So it's definitely more RPG this time. They definitely decided to go that route with it and pull back on the strategy element of it. And the one part I did not like, and I hope it's just for the demo, there's like 3 maps. You really have to grind the first map before you're ready to take on the second map because the level difference, you just get like obliterated by some of the enemies.
No.
And then like the hardest map, I like walked on it and just got like ruffle stomped. I was like, it was fighting the Valkyria. I was like, oh, it's a boss encounter. And then immediately like the chat in the stream was like, she's level like 35 and you're level 10. Good
You're
luck.
dead.
And like she one-shot everyone. I was like, really? I was like, this better not be the final game where I don't think this could be the final game. They're probably gonna have more balanced like missions. But it gave you the illusion that you could choose different paths in the story and go down this route and take on this mission. But yeah, for the demo, that wasn't really good. It's not the greatest demo, and it's a little rough technically. There's a lot of hiccups with the frame rate and some other weird oddities going on with it. And I feel kind of bad because after I played it, they announced they were considering making a demo for everyone, aka an English demo down the road. I was like, oh, come on, what are you waiting for? And this was the version 2.0, so this wasn't... They released an older version that apparently was a disaster.
Oh my god,
That's
like
I've played that.
I basically I was told to stay away from that one. This one was at least playable, and I see some potential there, but it feels like it has such a long way to go for this.
Oh,
and
man.
again, my biggest takeaway was I wish it was just Valkyria Chronicles 4. I was like, please just give me Valkyria Chronicles 4 on PS4. Yeah, it's a little sad. At least they're trying. It could be dead. They could just never try and revisit it again.
That's why I'm like holding back because
Please be good.
yeah.
But this could be the franchise killer for it though if it doesn't shape up.
Yikes. I had such high hopes when they put it on Steam. I was like, yes, we're going the right direction. They know now.
Oh, it did so well on Steam.
Yeah.
My understanding is the remaster on PS4 did well as.
Well, that's because I know people like the first
2 is
one.
PSP only.
Correct.
Yeah.
2 and 3 and
2
3
and
came out
3.
here.
Sent it to die by putting it on PSP.
Yo, Ready at Dawn, remaster that or something.
I'll be way down.
Blue Point.
Yeah, Blue Point, dude. Let's go.
Oh my god, I don't want to. I'm just gonna cry, so I can't handle it.
Yeah, we gotta move on.
We gotta move on to, boy, a topic that we've been waiting to discuss forever. We've been waiting with bated breath. It is time for a very, very special HOTTAKE. Double chop on that one.
Damn.
Double chop.
This week, last week, by the time you're watching this, Nintendo announced their new console. They gave it a name. The Nintendo Switch.
Great name.
I was hoping you were gonna segue like make the switch to HOTTAKE or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not that creative.
Skyrim.
I'll have to remember that for next time. So here's what we know about it. It is exactly as the rumors described, where it is both a portable, it is a hybrid console. You can take it on the go with you, and you can play it on your TV at home. So there are different ways that you can do this. They have special controllers called Joy-Con controllers, which is I'm never gonna get used to. Yeah, I'm never gonna get used to saying
roll
that.
off weird.
I have to abbreviate.
I don't know why they didn't.
But for some reason, it gives me a weird Neo Geo vibe, Joy-Con. So I kind of like it at the same time.
There is something
ask
very
me why,
90s video game about it. Yeah,
but it
you're
reminds
right.
me of
You're
it.
right about that. So you can play it on the tablet, on the go. You have these two detachable Joy-Con controllers on the side playing it. You can also flip. You can take the Joy-Con controllers off, play it on your TV, and like flip them around, and sort of like holding a Wii remote sideways. It's much smaller than that, but you can do that here as well. You can also there's a Pro controller that is out, and something important to note on both the Joy-Con controllers and the Pro controller, the joysticks aren't symmetrical anymore. So you've got your left analog stick above the right analog stick. So some people love that change, some people hate it. I will let you guys discuss. Another very important thing, not using discs, going back to
A card. It's
a cartridge. Yeah, a card, yes. Which I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. And there are other things, there are other details that I can ravel up. But if you're watching the show, you probably know most of them.
Yeah.
And what you don't know is how we feel about the Nintendo Switch. And so I want to do a temperature gauge, initial gut reactions. How did you feel watching it, that reveal, and how do you feel now that you've had some time to process it? What do you think? Are you in?
Who's going first?
I'm not going first.
All right.
All right.
Yes, obvious. I think I was just, like so surprised at how accurate a lot of the rumors were about it. Generally, I always feel that like some of them are right and some aren't. I am very so. I'll go down the list. I'm very hesitant about the Joy-Con stuff, the detachable controllers. I don't think I'm ever really going to utilize that. I think the most I'll utilize it is if I'm using the tablet form and have them on the sides to hold that on the go. Like if I want to play on the go, that's probably the way I'm going to be playing. But when I'm at home, that thing most of the time is going to be in that dock, and I'm going to be using that Pro controller. And I want to. I'm very grateful that Nintendo not only showed that controller, the more standard form factor controller, in the trailer and prominently featured it, but they stayed away. They stayed away from a lot of tropes that I think kind of got them a stereotype for the last two generations. I'll say it would start with the Wii and permeated through the Wii U. First of all, the console wasn't shown off in white. They went away from the white color scheme, which has always been like their default one, which was nice, but and they didn't show any motion controls really. Some people were tilting a controller, but like they always show that in gaming commercials when someone's playing a racing game, like I'm tilting the controller because I think I'm really driving, but didn't really emphasize any kind of motion stuff. No touchscreen stuff, even though suppose the rumors are conflicted about if it's touch, multi-touch. There wasn't very skewed towards a younger audience. It was their lifestyle video.
Yeah.
It was skewed towards like the average person on the go, essentially. I think they're trying to broaden their appeal without starting at the target demographic of like a younger audience, which was nice to see. Even the games, even though they had Zelda and they had a supposedly new Mario in there, who knows if that was really footage or those mock-up stuff, who knows. Where their two games, they prominently featured supposedly Skyrim, Bethesda's like, oh, there really isn't a Skyrim confirmed to be coming out on Switch, and some basketball game. They showed off a lot of non-Nintendo mock-up footage for that, dedicated a lot of time to that. So, and then when they showed that slide of the partners, comparing that to the Wii U one, where it's this tiny little circle and it was mostly Japanese developers, and EA and Ubisoft, this one had like everyone pretty much. Like everyone was a quote-unquote partner. Who knows what that'll really mean?
Right.
But either they wised up and decided to be a little bit more diverse in showing that, or they've got more people interested in this one than they did with Wii U because, hey, even though it's a hybrid, which is their hook this time in the controllers, everything about it seems a little bit more traditional and like what people expect. It's the hook this time isn't weird motion controls, isn't this weird, is it a tablet, is it not a tablet with the Wii U, is it a peripheral? I think they nailed the messaging with this for the most part on the core concept.
let's talk about that message and that core concept. The hybrid nature of the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how much that matters to you guys. Do you think that is a good idea to hang your hat on?
For me, it does not matter whatsoever.
Okay.
Because I probably, knowing myself, I don't really play handhelds like on the go really at all. Because I don't travel a lot or anything like that. For me, it doesn't matter. But I think it's a smart idea, kind of merging their handheld market. I assume they're going to. I don't know if there'll be another DS anymore because they are successful on handhelds, but just not home consoles. They're kind of morphing together. I understand why they did this. Big time.
And Brad, you brought up a lot there that I do kind of want to dig into, but before I do that, let me ask you just a hypothetical question. We don't have the specs for the Nintendo Switch. I am not claiming to have the specs. This is just a hypothetical, okay? This is just in the realm of fantasy. Would you rather have this hybrid console or a dedicated TV home console that was more powerful? If it was up to you.
For me, it's always home console more powerful.
Sure.
Because when they showing games for this,
Yeah.
I didn't know that I couldn't tell if this was like a new system or a Wii U game. Mm-hmm. Like when they showed Mario Kart, I was like, is this like a new version of the Mario Kart we got on Wii U kind of right now? Like there's a new character. They showed Skyrim, an 11-year-old game. Oh, I'm sorry, 5-year-old game. Sorry.
It kind of feels like 11.
That's what I remember. But sorry. But yeah, it feels like 11-year-old game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, you're debuting your console right now to show off your new hardware and everything, and you're showing me a game from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Now let me play devil's advocate here.
Play devil's advocate.
Two things that I think are important. And one that I think is actually personally a big deal to me is theoretically, presumably, this consolidates their console and handheld developments. And so I am an adamant Nintendo fan. I love Nintendo more than the average person.
I think all of us at this table love Nintendo.
Exactly. But even adamantly loving Nintendo, there'd be a lot of times where the Wii U in my mind would just sort of fade away because there's nothing coming out of it. There would be this huge chunks of time where I didn't want to play either what was coming out of it or there was just simply nothing coming out of it. It felt hard to stay engaged with it. And if this fixes that problem or at least alleviates it a little bit, that's a bigger deal to me.
Where you want to play old games?
No, not old games. I'm saying like because they're not as spread out, they're not developing for two different things. They're developing.
No,
for
yeah,
one
I
thing.
totally get
You can
that.
do things more quickly.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious why they're showing that game off for debuting their console.
So that's my other thing.
That's not impressive to show off.
This is my devil's advocate thing that I want to bring up with Skyrim is yes, it's a 5-year-old game. Yes, it's not impressive, even if it's this remastered version, right? But you've never really this is not 100% true, but for the most part on a big 3 console, you haven't been able to play Skyrim on the go. Skyrim is a huge game. A lot of people love it. It's something you can sink a lot of hours into. Do you think that matters?
For me, no. But the thing that my argument with is now every game's going to be portable. That doesn't make Skyrim any more important now than any other game you haven't been able to play portable. Now everything is.
But I would argue that maybe Skyrim is a game you would want to be portable. A game that you can sink so many hours into. Somebody else brought up, imagine if you could play Destiny on this thing. Like, there are a lot of times I'm going up on trips, and, like, let's say I'm trying to get my light level up. I don't want to play these handheld games. I want to, now that I have time, that I'm in a hotel or whatever, I'm on a plane, I can do that grinding on the go.
I mean, I totally get, like, the whole, like, wanting to play it, but I just thought it was a weird choice to show old stuff.
Sure.
Like, really old stuff.
Sure. I think that's fair. It is weird to show Skyrim during a reveal.
Like, I would understand it more if they showed their online game. Like, I get why they're showing Skyrim because it's popular and people like it a lot.
Right.
But, like, they're showing something newer. Something not just, like, old. And a remaster, and if how powerful this thing is.
Yeah.
Is this going to be, like, the worst version also?
Well, a lot of people are going to say, well, that impressive stuff, that new stuff, that Nintendo stuff is coming.
Yeah,
and
of
course it's coming.
Yeah,
but you're totally right. That first impression is so important. And I don't know. Hubert, what do you think? What do you think of that first impression? How did the video strike you?
I liked the video. Disclaimer though, my bar has been a little low with Nintendo.
Okay.
The Wii and then the Wii U is kind of like, has brought me down a bit. But I love that the reveal immediately was dude in a dark room, because that's me, you know, and that's what I want out of a new Nintendo console. And the fact that they didn't show kids and like all of that, it was like it was saying, yo, like Nintendo gamer, we're coming back to you, in a sense. That's the message I kind of took away from it. But to just like Brad was saying about the handheld nature, that doesn't do it for me personally.
Okay.
Because I'm never on the go. I live in Los Angeles, so when I'm going somewhere, I'm driving. That gimmick doesn't help me at all. I did like when they were playing like head to head, kind of like chess style. They were playing the basketball game like head to head. That setup is really cool, but it's still just a novelty to me that I will rarely take advantage of, you know?
I don't know. I'm gonna push back against that a little bit because I think the Wii U was a novelty because of how limited it was. You know, there were a lot of times I couldn't take that gamepad into the next room because it would lose its connection. Whereas for you, do you think, you know, let's not be as dramatic as you have to go on a trip or a family vacation or whatever it is, but even just the thought of there are some times where I want to keep playing a game, but I'm kind of tired and I have to go to bed and it's like, oh, well, guess I'll just watch Twitch on my iPad. I have to turn this off. Even just the thought of being able to take that thing, cozy up in bed, get a few more rounds out, I think is really appealing.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
It is doing what the Wii U essentially promised.
It is a more realized version.
It should have been, yeah.
Like, dude on the train playing Wii U, I always come back to, you know? Now that seems much more viable. People on the plane playing. I liked the controllers. It seemed pretty cool. Like, the two... Seems very, like, VR style.
Double triggers, which is great.
And again, this is just a tease. So coming away from it all... I'm more excited than I was. I was extremely nervous going in. I just need to see some games, and then I'm good to go. Like, they showed Mario. I don't know if that's a real Mario or not. I'm excited.
Oh, that's going to be real Mario, for sure.
Aside from the power standpoint, the technical prowess, I've kind of given up on that with Nintendo. It all comes back to their art style. There are still Wii U games that look great because of the art.
Yeah.
So yeah, power doesn't affect me.
So I'm going to pose this question to all of you then. In a general sense, what do you think this system needs to be successful for you?
A steady influx of video games.
Yeah.
Please, not only from Nintendo. It's not Nintendo versus the world. They need allies. They need third-party support. They need... a steady amount of games. The second half of that franchise, that console's life, I picked up like Skyward Sword, Smash, that like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. There was a point where I didn't play the Wii for years. Wii U came out, same thing. Played a couple games early on, and for me, like I know there's some games out there, and even some ones I haven't played, like Wonderful 101.
Yeah, but I think
compared to a PS4 or an Xbox One or a PC,
right.
Substantially less games.
Well, compared to even their handheld.
Compared even to their handheld, substantially less. So for the Switch, and like you were saying, to be steady, like to remain engaged, I need a steady amount of games. And I'm not talking every month a game, but there always needs to be something.
I think every month a game.
But even something on the near horizon, like, oh, you know, every 2-3 months. We're getting something that looks great, that makes me want to pick up the Switch.
So let me pose two questions to you. I think this is really important. Let's say you've got big game coming out. Let's say again, hypothetically, you got Destiny 2 coming out, and they're like, hey, it's coming out on the Switch, it's coming out on the PS4, it's coming out on the Xbox One, and PC. What do you play that on? Even if it's a great version on the Switch, what do you play that on?
So I'm going to sidestep this answer and say... whatever everyone else is playing on.
What do you think everyone...
Yeah. I'll answer it. PC.
Right.
Control.
Right, I think that I'm not trying to attack you here.
Yeah.
I'm saying that that's going to be true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so that's
where I'm gonna go where my Brad's going to PC. Hey,
Right.
Brad, I'm gonna follow you there, man.
Right, exactly. And I think that's a real issue and has been an issue for a long time with Nintendo.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you do get these weird, kind of cool, well-reviewed but underperforming games like Red Steel 2 on the Wii or Zack and Wiki, like you have these things that are really good but don't have the sales to see future support. It puts Nintendo in a very tricky situation, and I don't know how you solve that problem.
Like you're saying though, grinding on the go, that sounds awesome.
Right. So maybe do you think that would be compelling enough for people to pick up that version?
Yeah.
So they could do that on the go?
Yeah, for sure. There's people that want to do that. Definitely.
If there was some kind of
Especially if you could unify your
yes,
account across
yes.
every platform.
That's very important.
Exactly.
But that's another thing that Nintendo hasn't gotten.
That's what I need.
They need to bust down those doors and be like, yo, everyone, we're aligned with everyone. We are off, like, we offer something different with our portability, with our control, but we are so open to cross-play, to play anywhere, to all of those things. Like, I don't know how hard that is to make happen, but that would be such a deal breaker. That would be so amazing. That would make me want to switch it up. I'd make the switch.
Damiani, you've been, you're a dyed-in-the-wool, like, Nintendo fan, and you've been critical of them with the Wii and the Wii U. There have been things that they've done that they haven't liked. What is it that is going to make you, like, through the roof excited about the Switch?
Huber said, for someone like Huber, he wants more software in general, not just for Nintendo. I think Nintendo's problem for a long time has just been their own releases. They just have content droughts with their own stuff as well, and it looks like at times there was points where they just didn't give a crap about Wii U. It would be like months to almost like a year between like major releases or releases that cater to someone like my interest or something like that. I think they need to avoid that. For me, they need to avoid that with their first-party releases. Every 3 to 4 months, there needs to be roughly like a core game release from Nintendo, whether it's a new IP that they decide to make, whether it's from one of their established franchises, or it's a game they've partnered up with that's an exclusive, like a Bayonetta 3 or something like that. I feel like I need like 3 of those games a year minimum from Nintendo. I get what everyone's been saying about the third-party stuff. Everyone keeps saying like not having third-party support on Nintendo has been its doom. It certainly hurt its perception, but the answers you guys just gave basically sum up what I think everyone feels is that you have a preference for a certain platform. If when given the option, you're going to play it on the platform that either the most people are playing on, or gives you the most options, which is usually the PC,
or just performs the best.
Yeah, it performs the best.
Or just make a third-party game that's unique to that system, like they do for 3DS.
That's what I'm talking about.
So the problem is with that,
like Bayonetta. That is what I mean.
Your argument there, they tried doing that with Wii with some games. There were some pretty good games. You mentioned Zack and Wiki.
Yeah.
There were some good games for that. They just didn't sell very well
because they didn't promote them at all. They got buried.
Yeah.
So that's who knows if that's Nintendo and or the
I mean, I'm not saying I don't know whose fault it is.
Yeah, I know,
but that's
I know
the
that, but like
reality.
the problem is people have tried on Nintendo and like they didn't see the returns on that. When I think the only one like Just Dance, but that wasn't like too unique for a while. What was it? Stupid Carnival games on Wii or whatever, like sold like a bunch of because of the thing, and everyone else like that put actual effort into the system didn't get the payoffs that they were hoping for. I don't think that's necessarily the answer. Making unique experiences that take advantage, especially on the Switch.
Well, it doesn't need to be unique. Bayonetta 2 doesn't take advantage of the gamepad, but is a third party coming in and giving me something that I'm going to pick up my Wii U for.
So third-party exclusives, there are definitely some relationships Nintendo has with existing developers that they could leverage. Like they could definitely push on Sega to maybe like make another Sonic game or Bayonetta 3, but I don't think they have those relationships with like the publishers you guys are interested in. They're not going to get
They do now.
They're not going to get an exclusive like Rockstar thing. They're not going to get an exclusive Bethesda thing. I highly doubt that. They're not going to very rare chance it's going to get exclusive from EA in any form. What they need to push, I think, was Switch, which was what you said the Wii U was the promise of it was to play anywhere. I don't think they actually that wasn't what they promised. If that's what you got, I think it was part of their failed messaging and
Just
their
like that
their poor
entire- yeah,
communication.
everything with that.
It was only meant to be playing a second screen experience. They're saying Switch is not a second screen experience. It's not designed to do that. It doesn't do that. It's meant to play anywhere. So if they could convince enough people, and it might not be us, this isn't for me necessarily, but they're going for that mainstream hook again. It's you can play. We have every game from third parties that's on every other platform. Like the PS4, Xbox One, or PC version of the next whatever game is going to look better on those systems. It's going to perform better. But you can't take those on the go with you everywhere. So for the average mainstream person who, is used to maybe mobile gaming or at least some kind of portability because they travel or they're on the go so much. You talk about LA, I mean, there's tons of other places like people commute through trains.
I'm
and
an old
stuff.
fogey. I don't go anywhere. So.
And they're thinking internationally here, like in Europe and Japan. They're very mobile focused. They have very better public infrastructure, transportation infrastructure than here. They're thinking about that hook there that you can go and play a Destiny at any time if they get that, or they get like Grand Theft Auto 6 or Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like, yeah, it's not going to look better than the PS4 Pro or the Scorpio version or even if it comes out on PC. But hey, if you're on that 2-hour train ride or 1-hour train ride every day, you could play it on there. I think that's who they're going to go after.
Okay, that's a good thing, but here's the problem. Just like with Wii U, that will last for like a year. Then the other consoles will come out and Nintendo will be left in the dust again. From a power standpoint, where they can't have those games on there. It'll be cool for a year and everything, yeah.
So I don't think it's gonna be for a year. I think the
Pro is out before Switch.
Pro is out before, but let's not get into Pro stuff because the whole thing with 15 and PS4 Pro that just came out though. Then I think you're gonna get bare bones efforts from people on PS4 Pro for a while because everyone has this delusion that you're getting PC specs.
No, you're definitely not.
But I want to get on that tangent. I think you're overestimating the length there. I think if you're talking about PS5 or Xbox One Part 2 or whatever, those are, if ever, like years off. I think,
like a year or two, like 2018 easily.
No. They were gonna look at they're gonna look at the iterative stuff. They're gonna.
What do you mean? No, they're already doing like Microsoft.
No, they're doing
gave up on this console generation. That's why they're doing a new console already.
No, Scorpios is an incremental upgrade.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna keep doing that. Nintendo's gonna get left in the dust.
Yeah, but like we don't know how consumers are gonna react to that on the console. Just because it works with cell phones and mobile technology doesn't mean that that's going to necessarily work with consoles. We still haven't seen PS4 Pro sales yet. We haven't seen what Scorpio's going to sell next year.
I'm just saying what's happened with Nintendo the last two consoles.
And who doesn't say that Nintendo, if it does work, Nintendo doesn't make Switch incremental upgrades, and its mobile technology would probably be easier for them to do as well.
There's just no precedent.
Yeah, there's no precedent for this. So this is this is too hypothetical. I understand where you're coming from, but that's more of a wait and see. I think with what's known quantity right now, that mobile is a tricky sphere to navigate, but it is a huge market, and they've seen what they've done so far with mobile games, regardless of Mitomo, Pokemon Go with Niantic, which isn't technically them, but also with Super Mario Run or whatever that's coming out. They're going to see how those doing. And they know they've been masters of the mobile space for for 2 decades, almost 3. I think they decided that they want, like Ben was kind of saying, like consolidating one and leveraging that advantage that they have, and saying, "Hey, we're comparable. We're always there." Reggie said they're never getting into an arms race, technical wise, with the other.
Other consoles. Okay, but then he comes out and he was like, "Yo, software drive sales. You're gonna play Mario and Zelda on our system," and then they don't get a damn game for over a year. So he can't just come out and be like, "Yo, like our games are gonna sell our consoles." He said it 1,000 times, and again with the Wii and the Wii U, there was dry. The well was dry, and it's because they alienated third-party support.
Well, that's
not. But think about when the Wii U launched.
Third-party support, like you're saying too. First party needs to make more games. Third party bridges that gap.
No, you're right. Those games. But back up a second. I was saying earlier that Nintendo has done these weird hooks before, and I was saying the publishers tried to take advantage of it. They didn't see the return on the rewards. takes significantly more development time and resources for these third-party companies to make unique experiences for Wii, for 3DS and 3D, and for the Wii U second screen or whatever. They just got tired of it. Everything else was kind of normalized. Switch isn't doing anything really gimmicky. It's giving you like a traditional game experience. It's just saying you can also take it on the go.
Yeah.
There's nothing super special about that. It's just the fact that no one else is really offering that as seamless for a console experience. That, I think, is enticing third party. That's their messaging.
Right.
Nintendo's messaging to third parties. Yo, it's going to be a little bit slightly underpowered compared to the other consoles, but not that hard to make ports for, because we're not doing any weird motion gimmicks, no weird second screen stuff. Just make a straight damn port and it'll run on our system. And the fact that it was confirmed that's NVIDIA Tegra chip, like it's going to make it easier for third parties to make ports. And I think that's why you saw that list of names, because everyone's like, okay, you guarantee us that, we'll at least give you the basics, you know.
I think, unlike the Wii and the Wii U, the power is not as much in question as it was before. I think saying this is just less powerful, so I'm not interested. I get where you're coming from, but I just don't think that argument holds as much weight here, because there's sort of like, if you judge it as a console, it goes down a little bit, but if you judge it as a portable, it goes way up, and that's a big deal. Maybe it's not a big deal to you, but I think in general, it is a big deal that's going to matter to a lot of people.
Yeah.
If this is like the best, most powerful portable that is out there, that sounds really awesome to me.
Yeah, not
You
only
know.
that,
I know
Brad,
we were agreeing with you. We were
No,
saying from
I
our
know.
personal
I'm not even just attacking you guys.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, in general.
That's just what it has to do. When you take X game on the go, it needs to look on that smaller screen just like you were seeing on the big screen.
Right.
It doesn't require as much power, but as long as it doesn't break that, you know, the fidelity, illusion of fidelity there. It's like, wow, this new Super Mario 3D game looks just as good on my TV on here. I'm taking it on the go. The average person, that's all they need. It's like in, you know, the movie making process, like as long as everything's doing its job right, you don't notice a thing.
There's also a lot of factors: frame rate, resolution, battery life, of course.
Battery life was huge.
They haven't talked about that.
That's what I'm
they
very
haven't,
curious
there's
about.
rumors, but they haven't released the actual stuff.
I want to pivot the conversation a little bit, because, you know, we're talking about third-party support and first-party support, and something that I think was interesting kind of about the Wii U, I always come back to Super Mario 3D World, which is a game I love. I think it's an excellent game. But I think a lot of people who were not like us, who weren't going to get that stuff anyway, that were kind of on the fence, didn't see what was special about it. You know, it's kind of like Mario as you've seen it before in 3D Land, and you know, it had the multiplayer stuff in the new Super Mario Brothers series. I don't think it grabbed attention the way that like a Super Mario 64 did. And Super Mario, when I think about like Super Mario 64, obviously it was a different time where just making a game into 3D was a big deal. But even like a Wind Waker, you know, how that aesthetic, how immediately it popped and caused controversy. Do you think the Nintendo Switch, when they do come out with the Marios, when they do come out with the Zeldas, and you could argue that Breath of the Wild is doing that, do you think they need to be like that again? Or what do you think those games need to be to make people want a Nintendo Switch? What does first-party development need to do? Do they need to make more Splatoons? Do they need to go kind of... Do they need to get off the Mario Zelda train? Do they need to dig into new IPs? Like, what is it that's going to make first-party Nintendo feel like the best first-party development out there?
Consistency would be one good thing.
Sure.
Having not just like, huge gaps, I would say. Like I love a lot of the Wii U games. Like, I love those games, man, but just like, there's nothing there. It's barren.
So you think that's the biggest problem, is you just need more of it?
For me personally.
If I'm getting like 2 of those a year, and then I get like 1 or 2 awesome third-party exclusives, that's enough. Like 4 or 5 games a year that I can only play on Switch that are amazing, perfect. I always go back to the GameCube, and I think of like Killer 7, Resident Evil, again, Wii U, Bayonetta 2, like bridging those gaps to Mario, to Zelda, to Donkey Kong, to Metroid. Those, like, it just makes it seem like there's so much there when I'm not waiting 9 months, 10 months for a game to bust out my dusty Wii U.
They can't abandon the console like they did the Wii U. They totally abandoned that console because they were like, we're going to wait for everything else to be on the next. So you can't do that.
Like, grease some Platinum and Capcom palms.
Like, we're seeing good signs with the publishers that they announced. Like, that's a very good sign. Seeing, like, publishers I wouldn't expect, like, From Software on there with Nintendo is very strange to me. But that's
It
a
is.
great sign.
It is. To me, it feels a little bit like a smokescreen, like just putting names up on a board.
I feel like every console release is like that. though,
Yeah,
when they
that's
do that.
true. That's a very good point. Every console release.
I mean,
there's a
we're
lot
at
of
like such an
smokescreen.
early stage with this, so it's hard to like predict.
It is.
Especially when they won't tell us more.
Yeah, but
Not till next year? Why?
what's so interesting is thinking about to the conversations I had with you guys at the launch of the PS4 and the Xbox One. I guess there was the DRM stuff that was a big issue, but just the attitude is different. You know, there's excitement and anger here because Nintendo has done so many good things, but there's just been mistakes that has prevented us from loving them absolutely.
It's like when your family member does something wrong.
Right.
You love
That's
them,
what
but
it
you're
is.
so disappointed in them.
But
like,
you see the goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like Nintendo for me for so long has always been that separate thing. You know, again, we're not going to get into an arms race. And it's like, I'm going to have my other consoles, which are, you know, all kind of bundled together, PC, Xbox, PS4. Then I have my Nintendo where I can only play those games there. And I think if they just like embrace that more, I personally will be extremely happy.
I think, go ahead, Damian.
I think you're going to see probably some companies try a little bit more mobile specific type games on it because it is a mobile, a mobile platform. So there'll be a distinguishment between the more quote unquote console game type experiences versus like something like they make us 2 Super Mario games, one like the 3D one we saw, and then they make like a mobile, like a Super Mario Run type game for on the go. That's like cheaper. That's gonna be also an interesting thing. I think we're gonna see an interesting thing with pricing on Switch with the games that get released on it. Not just because the virtual console possibilities, but just the games that come out. Period. Well, I think there'll be a wide price range for game experiences that they do on there. My concern with their software at the beginning. They seem to be they've held off on this for so long. I do think they're gonna have a good software lineup for launch. My concern is that several of these games might just be Switch versions of Wii U games because those games either didn't. One, they put so much effort into those games, they didn't sell well, so they'd like to recoup some of that money back. But just adding on to them and making them, it's also easier development. If those games in the trailer are any indication, like we saw the Mario Kart 8, but had double items, had new characters. There was a rumor about a Smash Brothers at launch, but everyone was like, has to be a Switch version of the existing Wii U one possibly. We saw Splatoon. Is that a new one, or is that the Splatoon for Switch? I think you're gonna see a few of those within the launch window or the first year, just to help them pad out. I think they'll do fine with the 3 to 4 good original. They'll have Zelda. They'll probably have the Mario game. I don't think Mario will be at launch. I think it'll be next year. They'll probably have 2 other games like that will come out in that year. But to pad, so that maybe there's even more than more than one game a month coming out. It just might be the Switch versions of games that we played on Wii U, but they'll give you more content with it. Like, here's some new courses, here's some new levels, here's some new racers or whatever, or Smash. Hey, it would be great to say, hey, there's a few more characters we didn't sneak into Smash Brothers. We're gonna throw them in here. And then buy them time to get to this year 2 where they could start with the original releases.
I think that's smart.
I do too. As long as they all add something new, they can. They're not going to do it, but none of them can be literally just a port and with nothing.
They have to be
it.
substantial.
The fact that we only got Super Mario 3D World on Wii U leads me to believe that we'll get a Mario pretty soon, first calendar year. You think?
I think so.
I think
it'll be the big holiday title next year.
I think they kind of have to.
Yeah.
They have to. They absolutely have to.
Yeah.
They haven't done a good
Back
job
to,
of having it.
For a closing statement of mine, I feel like if I still lived in San Francisco, and if we transported this podcast to SF and I was still living there,
Right.
I would have a vastly different sentiment.
Yeah.
Because I traveled every single day. I took the Muni, I took the BART, I was always on the go, I was walking to class. I think that is a big thing, which is interesting, though, for consoles success kind of dictates on where you live.
I think that's such an important point to bring up because there hasn't been a console like this with this amount of flexibility, and you can see so many different situations where it applies to you. And I think what I like about it is, even for you, even if you're just staying at home, you're still gonna want to play Zelda. The thing, like, there's still something for you, right?
I mean, there's always something there, no matter what.
They will always have Mario and Zelda.
Yeah,
they got me.
I'll always be there.
Forgetting.
What this console desperately needs also is an account system where your games are bound to your account and not your system. So people like Ben Moore who lose their 3DS or get stolen do not lose out on their games they own.
That has to happen. Like, there's no more excuse for that.
If it doesn't happen, like,
They have to,
I seriously maybe not purchase it.
They have to know by now the backlash of that.
Their whole infrastructure and everything, like, trophies and achievements, people love those. Let's get some of those going. Like, you earn Nintendo points, you earn a certain amount, you can, like, buy a cool puzzle piece or something.
Yeah, tied in or
let's
something.
go.
They need to do that.
Embrace online.
Also, software-wise, forgot to mention, you're gonna get that Pokemon Sun and Moon Switch version.
Seriously.
Kyle Bossman, look out!
Seriously.
It's happening. All the Pokemon games are gonna be coming out on Switch.
It's hard not to imagine the system being super successful in the era going if that happens. Like, that's
like
a foregone
the
conclusion.
biggest no-brainer they can do.
Animal Crossing.
Oh my god, Animal Crossing is so good.
Yeah.
I think the last thing to add, even though they're not going to talk about it till next year, they just need to really nail the price on this.
Yes,
it cannot be more expensive than what the PS4, the new PS4 is going to be.
I think under $300.
It has to be
$300
$299 or less. I think it's going to be between $250 and $299.
If it was $250,
the Wii was like $250 when it came out, right?
It was $329 or $3.
The Wii?
Yeah, it was like $3 something for the big. There's two versions.
No,
remember?
you're talking Wii U.
Oh, Wii.
That's how bad your Nintendo's messaging was. Oh my god!
I think Wii was either $299 or I think it was $300 or $250.
Yeah.
Wii U came in the two versions.
Yeah,
the $3 something and the
$349
one. I think.
Yeah, Nintendo have good messaging this time, so people are not confused and don't know.
Yeah, one SKU. They need to be very clear about, like, there's one SKU needs to be $299 or less, and I just don't know what they're going to include with it. There were a lot of peripheral or moving parts shown in that video.
Yeah, there was.
What's
it gonna be?
Sorry, I just...
Are we recording?
I was looking at the monitor.
We were all with bated breath waiting for Ben to confirm nothing was wrong.
We had an episode where it wasn't recording, and so I just... I'm sorry, I apologize for interrupting you, Damiani. It's just my heart.
I was like, please, Ben, confirm the goodness for us. Confirm the good vibes.
I'm sorry.
I want to make this clear to all the viewers and listeners right now. Yeah. Me and Mike love Nintendo. We do not hate Nintendo.
No.
I'm just
all of
extra
us are
critical.
here because of Nintendo.
I'm just super critical because the Wii and the Wii U they didn't have as many games as other consoles.
The competition.
And again, I keep driving home this third-party thing. It's because that was such a big deal. Like, it just, the gap between... I just kept waiting for the first-party games on the Wii and the Wii U, and it just took so long for those to come.
I remember you got a Wii U, and you were excited about it.
I got the Wii and the Wii U, yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a while into the Wii U's life, and you finally got it, and you were excited, and you were like, oh man, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze! You're so excited.
3D World!
Yeah, you had Wind Waker remastered, and you were so excited, but then after you got through that initial rush, you just had nothing, and you just lost interest. I think it's fair. And as in terms of, like... You not hating Nintendo, I'm sorry if I've come out aggressively, but it's just I'm just trying to play a devil's advocate. There are going to be people out there who, if we criticize anything about Nintendo, are going to get mad and write 4 paragraphs on it. That's fine. We can't help that.
True.
But I appreciate this perspective.
Extra spicy HOTTAKE.
Yeah, it was passionate. I felt some emotions there.
Nintendo brings it out of me.
Are you guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
For our final segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Ready.
Ready for a few emails?
No Red Dead?
Boot up the iPad. Oh. I'm glad you brought it up. I really want to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 1 is 10 out of 10. I love it. I could go on. I could ramble on about Red Dead Redemption forever. That trailer, though, while very, very pretty, I only watched it once. I'm not sure what to say. You know what I mean? I don't know if I have enough to really dig into it.
I want to take the word trailer, and put in teaser.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
It's definitely a teaser.
Yeah. I don't know if there was enough in that teaser for me to talk about.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to dig into.
You
Just
can't
how
t-
beautiful
You
it
can't
looks.
talk about it.
Yeah.
It was just setting up the world, pretty much.
And
Technical feast.
right.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that kind of hurts the discussion is Rockstar knocked it out of the park with Red Dead Redemption. They knocked it out of the park with Grand Theft Auto 5. The way I feel about Red Dead Redemption 2 is like, yeah, this is gonna be really good.
I was talking to Jones today though,
Yeah.
and he said that's like almost exactly how they did GTA 5 at first.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, the game is a year out,
Right.
So I think people were expecting like a crazy trailer that showed everything in that game. Might be
PSX.
quite a bit disappointed.
I'm willing to stake my life
Okay.
on a
Wow.
fact.
Okay.
Yeah. The fact that they
I'm willing to take my
I'll
voice.
stake my entire life on a PSX trailer because one, it's what are we in? We're on October now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good 2 months after a teaser. I think that's a nice gap to then show a trailer. They announced a specific partnership with PlayStation. It just says PSX written all over it. I think a huge story reveal trailer.
I mean, that would
coming.
be the thing of
Yeah.
PSX.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. I do have a question for you, since you brought up Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5, the big thing is switching the protagonist and
Yeah.
how that affected sort of every single segment of that story in that game. Do you think Red Dead Redemption 2 will have something like that, a concept like that the entire game revolves around, or do you think you're primarily playing as one dude? Because we see the 7 silhouettes.
I could
And then-
see character switching. Like,
Sure.
I could see it. I think maybe this game's focus, like, new kind of thing will be more online focused.
You know what I think, Ben? Wild theory.
Yeah.
I think because there's 7 protagonists, I think it's gonna go GTA 5 style, where you only play as one for a bit. I think you're never gonna have more control over more than like 4 or so.
Okay.
I think some characters are gonna depart or die, and that'll be you're kind of playing as all of these characters at different times.
Just inserting this thought, it's something that Battlefield 1 does that I would like to see in more games. I really like sort of the anthology or like novella style of storytelling where you have a bunch of different stories kind of focusing on the same themes but maybe take place at slightly different times. Like I would love a Red Dead where you play as like a deputy for a little while and then you switch and then you're a burglar and you're kind of focused but you get to see different aspects and it makes you play differently because of
I
those
know.
different characters. A Mass Effect, I want that too.
I really want to be the good guy in one of these, like the lawful good guy in a Rockstar
Right.
game, at least for a little bit.
Sure.
Like, let me do it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Like a DLC or something like that? Or you're like
Yeah.
a sheriff? That'd be
You're
awesome.
like busting people. You're like investigating crime scenes.
Right.
Like, police chase. You're on the good side. Like, let's go.
Even just
Never
because
give
it
him an
did.
Yeah.
Always maintain discipline,
Yeah.
son.
Like, can you imagine just being a crazy prospector for a while? Just like going down and getting
Yeah.
the gold.
Looking for
like,
gold,
Yeah.
Nice.
Probably not gonna happen. But yeah.
You never know.
Anything
Rockstar.
else we want to say about Red Dead?
It's a beautiful piece.
Ready to make the switch.
I just
Make the
say
switch.
yes. Yes.
You're ready?
Yes.
You're excited?
Yes.
Yes. That game, like, I'm more confident that game is going to be a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 than
I
like
don't
Persona.
even like think about it.
yeah,
Like,
it's
no,
just like,
you don't even have to think about it. You know.
It's a fact.
yep.
It's already a fact.
That
Like
company
the
doesn't-
review for Red Dead Redemption 2 should just be like, bumper fade and easy allies, blah blah blah. Then it's just Brandon Jones turning around and slowly smiling. Close.
Yeah, that's it.
30
that's all
seconds.
You need to know.
That's all you need to know.
You don't even need to know what anyone thinks about it. It's
No.
gonna be insane already.
Yep.
You feel lucky, punk. 5 out of 5. Yeah.
Our first question comes in from Ladarius. That's
Hey, Ladarius.
a cool
No.
name. I like that.
Ladarius.
Ladarius, you making the switch?
I'm making the switch. You switching, bro?
What is up, Ben and the other allies? I wanted to bring up the topic of video game cartoons. Recently, memories of watching the first seasons of the Pokemon cartoon started flooding back to me. Times where I would sit down in front of the tube and watch Ash, Pikachu, and the gang get into adventures every week. it reminded me of other awesome and awesomely bad video game cartoons that have been made. The Super Mario Superstar Show, Captain N, Street Fighter, Double Dragon, and all of the Sonic cartoons, to name a few. I just wanted to know if any of you have any thoughts or fond memories of video game cartoons. Damiani, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, yeah. I used to get up to watch the Super Mario Brothers Super Show when it was on weekends, but actually it was after school, Monday through Friday, when it first aired, if I remember correctly. I'd come home from school, would watch it, and on Fridays would be the Legend of Zelda episode. So Fridays were like the extra special day. I was like, oh yeah, here comes the Legend of Zelda episode. They moved it to Saturday or Sunday mornings at some point. I just remember the live action skits of seeing live action Lou Albano as Mario, and I forget who played the actor for Luigi, but they had like celebrity guest on and stuff. I was like, what the heck? Like Magic Johnson.
Were they like always like emphasizing the amount of spaghetti they liked and everything?
Yeah,
I can't remember that.
They like Sergeant Slaughter showed up on an
Nice.
episode. It was like, what the? It was just like it was just so surreal seeing that. The cartoons, like as a kid, I liked the cartoons. Pro tip: the Zelda, or fun fact more, the Zelda one actually informed me at the time of like the character development and story of the original Zelda game.
Oh my god!
Because there was like no story in it, so it's like, oh, so this is what the world of Hyrule really works like. It's that's how Link would talk and stuff.
Yeah, princess.
But like I loved how they kept going. Like Captain N was the best.
Captain N was sick.
Captain N Zelda episodes were great because they were like not goofy and stuff. Like they were all serious. The Potion of Power and the whatever the other one was so good. They were more based on the Zelda 2 stuff. I love that evolution.
Do you remember the ones with Simon Belmont?
Oh god,
and he was like a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna save it. And then they had a Game Boy.
Yeah,
I was
like, what the hell, man?
And they had like they kept calling Pit Kid, like it was Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus.
And Mother Brain. Mother Brain.
Yeah.
So great. You Captain N.
Yeah.
It was like literally that voice.
Have you ever seen this show, Ben?
No.
Oh my god.
And
you need to
King
watch it.
Hippo and Eggplant Wizard were like the two idiots who like tried to like always capture Captain N. It was like Princess Lana of like Videoland.
This kid, like a high school kid, was in the video game
God,
world,
yes.
and his weapon was the NES Zapper.
And the
he would team up
controller.
with NES characters.
He could use the controller, the NES controller, the pause time, the turbo button.
Dude, it was like
He had a-
selling Nintendo products in the
And, like,
cartoon.
all-
If,
it was
if I
just-
can watch Mother Brain go, it's me, Mother Brain.
Like it was really.
you
I don't
gotta
know
watch- you gotta
if
check the show.
I don't know if she would fly today. They might have to readjust her a little bit, but. The concept was like Videoland, so you had like all the different worlds, like the Mega Man, they had a Tetris world. I want to know if Kyle Bossman has seen the Tetris episode, where they actually show what people living in the Tetris world are really like and the struggles and their daily like quandaries.
It's like a village in
No, it's a city. It's a city in like the Tetrominoes or whatever.
That's where Kyle's from,
They
dude.
like it's probably Kyle's homeworld. I mean, but like the King Hippo and Eggplant Wizard really made me think of the Sonic cartoon where they had
the first one or the second one?
The first one, the cheesy one, where robotic sidekicks. I forget their names.
The two robots, like the Rooster guy and the other one. Yeah, I forgot their names too.
And they had like that, but the Mario cartoon had like spoofs of licensed music that they had to remove in the home releases. They didn't use licensed music, but they had like spoofs of them, and they didn't get clearance for them. But man, like the Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, I love that intro.
That's what I have.
They were like,
I love that
everyone
one.
knew like Bowser was back. His Koopa kids attacked.
Super Mario Brothers 3 was like my go-to. That was my
and then
favorite.
the Super Mario World, Super Mario, Super Mario, Super Mario.
So yes, we have a
World.
few memories of them.
I have to say, just because I've been watching it recently, as in yesterday, the Pokemon, like the beginning, the first season of that Pokemon show, is so good because it still gets me emotional.
Oh, like Pikachu like hates Ash at
No,
the beginning.
like when Misty joins up with Ash and Pikachu and they capture the Caterpie and Misty is freaked out by the Caterpie and all the Caterpie wants is
It's
just
to be
love
loved.
and it just wants the attention.
Emotional.
I'm like, oh my god,
Then
I
he
can't.
Butterfreeze.
Yeah, and
Metapod.
it's such a glorious
Metapod.
moment. But then he does become Butterfree,
Yeah.
and he gets respect.
Then Misty cares.
But then the Butterfree goes away. He leaves Ash, and I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there like
He leaves
rolling
them,
around in my
he
tears.
leaves them just going like this, flying away.
Oh my god, no! But Ash is like crying, and he's like, Butterfree, I want you to go, but I'm gonna miss you. Rip out my heart, dude. All right. Okay. Our next email comes in from Seth. It just says hashtag Iowa in it. So
What's up, Seth?
You making
Seth,
the switch, Seth?
Is it Seth Rollins?
Hello. I have a bit of a controversial question involving Red Dead Redemption 2. A low estimate has Rockstar making over $3 billion from GTA 5. However, this seems to have not been enough to attain the resources to have a simultaneous PC release. The overall opinion seems to be that Rockstar learned from GTA 5 that they can sell the game multiple times. On top of that, they don't seem to possess the technology to make an anti-cheat to stop hackers, which have hurt the sales of their shark cards on PC. Bonus question. What will the shark cards be called in Red Dead Redemption 2? So I think the central question here is, for Red Dead Redemption 2, despite how astonishingly well GTA 5 did on PC, it's not getting a simultaneous PC release. A lot of people have said that is because people are just going to buy it twice. Why not space it out? Why not get that extra money? Do you think that's true? Why isn't there a simultaneous PC release? What's going on here?
I think that's partially true. Probably. They're like, yeah, we'll worry about that later. I think they're focusing mostly on, PS1 X. That's where their bread and butter was.
Majority of the sales. And then they can work on the PC
Port
version
later,
later
yeah,
down
I don't
and
know.
make it even more graphically intense.
Are you okay with that?
I mean, I wish, obviously, it was day and date. I think it'd be great for everybody. Everyone would win at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Got no problem with it. I mean, like Brad said, sure, it'd be great.
I mean,
but
it sucks if you only have PC. That sucks. Big time. But I guess
that's a long way.
you can look forward to getting the best version.
I do sympathize with that perspective pretty hard. To see Grand Theft Auto 5 be in the top Steam charts since it came out, and to be that person that spent hundreds of hours on it and have it to be a really good version and mess around with all these mods, and then once again after that has happened, all this time has passed to Red Dead 2, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
Cool. That sucks. That sucks.
Yeah. I'm pretty shocked. I'm surprised. I thought it was going to launch with PC.
Me too.
I'm
I thought they
blown
would have.
away by
Yeah,
it.
I thought they would have for sure.
Maybe, at the same time, I totally get the other way where it's like, yo, coming out on console, this is the best version of the game. You know what I mean? So every time it comes out, there's no comparisons of, yo, look how much better the PC version is than PS4 and Xbox One. When it comes out, it's more natural. Everyone's saying, yo, this is the best. It doesn't sacrifice that quality. When it comes out, it's the best in the biz. And then again, year down the line, they can do it again and be like, yo, here it is again. Best in the biz.
I wish I knew how Rockstar thinks.
Yeah.
Our next question
Geniuses.
comes in from Blaine.
Hey, Blaine.
Making the switch, Blaine?
Blaine,
Let us know if you're making it right in. Let us know.
Yeah.
Do you think we will get to see the day when adult-only rated games are allowed on consoles and sold in stores? Do you think video games need
Wasn't
them?
Conker's Bad Fur Day like that?
It was M. It came out as M.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? I thought it was like, okay.
Even
I don't know.
Hatred was M, right? Is that adults only?
Hatred has vanished from my mind. I think it might have been adults only.
Okay.
Or it was going to be or something like that.
But it was on console.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know. It's like isolating a lot of your market.
Taboo.
Well, the story with this has always been, a lot of prominent retail stores just will not sell A-only games. And so why would you, as a video game publisher, cut out a huge chunk of your market? It doesn't make any sense.
And I feel like to make an adults only game, it needs to be pretty ridiculous.
Right. That's the other point.
Think about M-rated games already. Some of them are insane.
Think about what happens in Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah.
You can't be more violent than that.
Yeah. So, aside from,
It's gonna be porn games
Yeah,
Yeah,
aside
it's gotta be porn
from...
games.
and
it's...
digital only.
And, even God of War, has some sex. You are even having sex.
But you, don't see it.
You don't see it, but it's still, implied and everything. I don't need to see it. So, I feel like I'm not missing out on anything, if a game is not being adults only, I'm not missing out on anything. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure who would want to actually go to a actual store to buy an adults only game either. Other than just for the sake of saying, haha, it's possible. I just feel like most people who want that type of game are probably just gonna buy it digitally and be like, cool.
Well, I mean, it's gonna
Walking
take
to a GameStop being like, Yeah, I'm here to pick up my AO copy of Galgun. Thanks.
It's gonna
no, I
take
don't wanna appear.
Galgun 3.
It's gonna take a
VR.
super, because like movies, right? NC-17, like
Oh, jeez, yeah.
there are some NC-17 movies like Blue Valentine,
Showgirls.
Showgirls that just emphasize sex, but they're still like Blue Valentine is a good example because it's a super good movie, and it's when that came out as NC-17 initially, they were like, "What the hell?" Like we weren't going for that, but because we had like some sexual stuff and some of that, they got slapped with an NC-17. So then I like cut it, make it R, but then you can still get the NC-17 version. It's gonna take some like super committed game developer out there to make an AO game that is like still artistic and has a reason to be AO and isn't just shock and awe.
Oh, okay.
For me to get on board with like.
Yeah.
Okay, like AO, like you know,
Right.
Because like Blue Valentine, again, I want to come back to it. It's like super good movie, and it's NC-17. You look at it like, oh, it's gonna be some like porno thing, but it's like not at all. You know, they have a very intimate and passionate relationship, and it serves the story. And I think for like an AO game, it would need to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. That justification hasn't been there, nor have I gotten the feeling that when I've been playing an M-rated game, where it's like, oh man, they really pulled back here. They
Yeah.
should've, like,
really go for
Yeah.
an NC-17 version of this game.
Yeah, let's see where
I've
that
never
is.
had that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like violence at this point. Your game can't be AO based on violence. It
Right.
is impossible.
It is only
it's
sex.
already been pushed to the max.
to the max.
Which I think is totally backwards, but
Like chainsawing someone in half and like Gears of War is pretty
Yeah.
fucking nuts.
Yeah.
right.
GTA.
That almost seems
Yeah.
teen at this
Like
point.
if Grand
Now,
Theft,
yeah.
If Grand Theft Auto is not AO, like what will be? Come on. Like going up to an old
Right.
woman and just stabbing her repeatedly. Like
Yeah, the amount
you
of
can't really get more
profanity, the
disturbing
language.
than that to me. Trevor like lighting people up, pouring them with gas and like torturing them.
Yeah, when you first
know?
meet Trenchberry and he's stomping in that person's face for 10 minutes, you're like,
What?
yeah, all right. And he's like picking the brain off his shoe.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
yeah,
oh.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever get there.
So Sophie is looking at me like, please stop yelling, please stop going insane. So that's gonna do it for us and for Frame Trap. I feel like I spent a lot of energy this episode, which I
Yeah.
think is a good sign, hopefully. So I hope you all enjoyed it. If you want to write in, you want to ask your question, and keep in mind, just reiterate, it doesn't always have to be about video games as much as I enjoy those questions. You can ask about music or food or Iowa or whatever you want. I don't care. They can be fun to take some divergent emails sometimes. But yeah, askeasyallies@gmail.com is the email address. If you want to find more of us, go to easyallies.com. There you'll find links to our Patreon, our Twitch, and our YouTube. We're doing stuff on there all the time, and it's only getting busier week after week. So thank you all again, and I will see you